handkerchief that she wore as like a t-shirt or a shirt.
Oh yeah.
To like his concert when like with the 70s.
The Farm Jam deal.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And it has like a burn hole in it from like a cigarette.
I'm gonna go pee.
Okay. It's pretty cool. But she framed that and gave it to him. But we only hung that one up in here.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And then most of the ones in here, the records in here are mine.
Yeah.
The ones in the living room are his.
Oh, okay.
And then...
Yeah, no, that's cool.
That's my best friend's
perfect.
bass.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like he already knows. He's like, oh,
yep.
Gotta wet your whistle sometimes, you know?
I was going to say, you want some water or some beer?
Fuck it, I'll take another beer. Hell yeah.
I'm going to pee. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll open this before everything starts recording.
Oh, that's okay. Trying to think what else is in here. That's my best friend's bass. He passed away last year.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
He had cancer. His dad
That's
gave
always
that
the
to me.
fucking...
Yeah.
That's a beautiful bass, though. I love the metallic shimmer on this one.
So Dalton bought that one. That's his.
Oh, okay.
That's
This one.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's dope.
And that Stonehenge sticker, that holographic sticker right there, that's like his album that he has on iTunes.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah. So it's cool. It's kind of more like we don't play it. Like,
well, yeah, it's more sentimental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted to I got it so I could play it.
Mm-hmm.
But the neck of it's a little bit warped because the strings are loose under.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you'd have to have it like worked on before you could actually like play it.
Yeah. But it looks cool hanging up there.
Oh, heck yeah. No, that looks great.
Time, so.
Well, and honestly, like it's a great backdrop for the podcast and all the video content and everything. Like that's what I'm trying to do with my little studio that I've got in my house is I have like so many different kinds of posters and like little cool knick-knack things and I want to put it up on my walls in a way so that like if I'm filming for content or whatever, like I have a cool backdrop, you know? Because I'm like just a blank white wall or something. I'm like,
I started putting up posters above the piano. I have a couple. I used to buy T-shirts at every show we went to, and now I'm like, I'm sorry, I had posters.
Yeah.
And bought posters and something else. Oh, stickers. But I like the posters because I just want to make like a big collage.
Yeah. You know? So Ben and I, whenever we would travel somewhere new, we'd always get a magnet.
Yes, that was our
magnet,
thing too.
Exactly. So the whole freezer portion of my refrigerator is all of our magnets from like our travels and stuff, and it's so cool because we've got everything from like Louisiana and Florida all the way to like Switzerland and Norway and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we actually lived overseas for about 4 months.
What?
Right before he passed away, and. So we were actually supposed to go live over there for a year, but then of course the accident happened and that didn't happen. But, I mean, it was so cool. We lived in Edinburgh, Scotland. Yeah. And like.
I have a magnet from there.
Nice.
And my brother went there.
It's a really cool place. I mean, just like whenever you go anywhere, whether it's like Europe, UK, whatever, I mean, just the amount of history they have. Yeah. Cause like everything, you know, everything is, you have things that are hundreds and hundreds of years old that are just chilling in a field, you know? It's like, oh, by the way, this was a wall that was built by the fucking Roman Empire. And you're like, what? Yeah. And there's like tourists climbing on it. Wow, this is so cool. Now fucking get off it.
Dang, that's awesome. Y'all just like moved over there just to, or y'all were going to move over there just to do it? Or?
Yeah, well, so he worked for a company. It's not an oil company, but the company he worked for worked on basically machinery that they used for. So Ben specifically worked on something called a subsea control module. And basically it's like the brain that goes subsea and controls the valves on all the pipe where the crude oil is coming up from. So like that was his specialty. And they were so impressed with like how fast and like he could pick stuff up and like how much he already knew and all that kind of stuff. They asked him to come to Scotland for 4 months and basically like train the people at that facility to test this particular type of equipment because they didn't already do it. Yeah. And they loved his work so much that he was doing. They were like, you got to come here for a year. Please tell us you're willing to move over here for a year so that like you can continue doing what you're doing. Yeah. And we talked about it. We were like, yeah, let's do it. You know, so I came back to start like getting things ready so that, you know, by the time we left, everything was taken care of. Because of course we couldn't take all of our animals and, you know, everything like that. And so, you know, I came back before him to start getting things ready. And then he kind of finished out the work he was doing. Cause like my visa ran out because I was just on a tourist visa, whereas he was on a work visa. Yeah. And he came back, like we had his birthday. And then 2 weeks later, the accident happened.
Was it, I don't know what the accident was.
So pretty much what happened.
Sorry,
no. To be honest, I'm comfortable talking about it because it's part of my story, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not going to lie. If it, you know, wasn't for everything that happened, I wouldn't be doing music.
Oh, okay.
You know, and because I was actually a pediatric nurse for about 7 years before he passed away.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, I did home health care with like special needs kids, and I loved the kiddos that I worked with. Yeah. But everything around it, like administration, all the bureaucracy crap, the insurance issues that these poor kiddos would have to deal with, I was so burned out.
Burned out, yeah.
And, you know, so this whole Europe, Scotland thing was like, wow, you know, it could be really a change of pace for me. I could get a little bit of space, figure out what I want to do, you know, for me. And, yeah, but then of course everything came crashing down after the accident and everything. And I kind of had to like figure out, I almost like had to relearn who I was.
Yeah.
Like, what did I want out of my life now that I didn't have him? Yeah. You know, because we were like thick as thieves. We did everything together, or we did nothing, and you know, all of this other stuff. And you know, so after everything, it was crazy. You know, at first I was like, well, maybe I want to start that bakery I've always wanted to, because like I love baking. I'm really good at it, and you know, I picked a little bit of interest with it and everything, but keeping up with the few orders that I had, like being on a timeline, being like really constrained for scheduling and everything, it was a lot of anxiety for me. Yeah. And I was like, man, like I don't want to do something that causes me so much anxiety that I don't enjoy it. Yeah. And pretty much I started singing with the praise team at the church that did his memorial service for me. Oh, wow. And, you know, from there, I like literally it felt like the life was breathed back into me when I would go to practice and sing and, you know, sing at church and everything. Yeah. And of course, like he passed away, like not even a week after the stay home orders were given. Oh, wow. So like, pretty much he passed away and I was stuck in my house. Oh, that's horrible. So going and singing with that praise team was like the only time I really like got out of the house.
An escape, yeah.
And yeah, and I remember you know, singing with them and just really realizing how like nourishing to the soul it was to like sing. And eventually that evolved into, I was like, you know what I've always wanted to do? I've always wanted to try out for like, you know, The Voice, America's Got Talent. I was like, ever since I was like, you know, younger and my parents would watch American Idol, I'm like, damn, I want to try sometime. And I always talked myself out of it. I always got too nervous to try. And I was like, fuck it. Why? Yeah, what's holding me back? Exactly. Why not? And I remember I tried out 2 different times, like 2 years in a row, and I didn't make it, which
with
whatever.
The Voice or America's Got Talent?
Both of them. So I tried out for both of them. And, you know, I didn't make it, but I was like, dude,
you did it though.
Exactly. I did it. And I specifically remember I had recorded an audition because it was, you know, they were still doing like all virtual. And I remember walking out of the office after it and shutting the door. And I just kind of like looked out into the living room and I was like, I want to sing. I want to be a singer. I have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. And yeah, exactly. And it was like the light bulb turned on and I was like, this is what I want to do. I was like, I have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. So then I found my vocal coach and
she has a vocal coach.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I work with Tom McKinney, and so he's got a really, really good track record of people. Like he worked with Beyonce when she was in Destiny's Child. He worked with like Demi Lovato. He worked with Scott Hoying from like Pentatonics and everything. And when I first found him, I was like, oh man, there's no way this guy has like
the
time for me. Like, he's probably so sought after. And I called, and his wife does all the scheduling and everything. And she's also kind of like the performance coach. So she'll give you notes on like movements. And because I was very much like, all the time when I was singing, I was just like, I was constantly just like fidgeting and everything. She's like, you need to stop fidgeting. I'm like, I'm sorry, Colleen, I'm sorry.
I'm over here like picking up my fingernails, like.
And so I called him and I was like, hi, I was just wondering if you guys had like room for a new student or everything. And she was like, well, actually, we had a lot of in-person students drop us for COVID, you know, because they didn't want to do anything but in person. So, and they were just starting to allow people to like come back to the studios for like in person as long as, you know, you test negative, all that kind of stuff. And they're like older. So I'm like, oh yeah, don't want to get them sick. And so the date of my lesson was the date of the first freeze we had a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And so I called him and I was like, I am so sorry, but the roads are so bad. Can we please reschedule? And I felt so bad because I was like, oh my gosh, they're probably going to think I'm like a flake or something. Yeah. And they were like, oh no, we understand. We want you to drive safe. So yeah, we'll just do it next week. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
That was good. Good on them.
Yeah, no, they're honestly, they're very sweet. They care very deeply for their students. And, you know, they've been such like, confidence boost for me because like if you saw me the first lesson I had with him compared to like now, you're like, who the fuck is that?
Different person,
you know, because
skill.
Well, I went in and so basically they told me to prepare a song to sing just so that they could like assess my skills. And I was really into like The Greatest Showman at the time because I had like started watching it and I was like, oh
that's
man,
a reality TV show, right?
No, it's a movie.
It's that P.T. Barnum. It's got like story and it's got Hugh Jackman in it and like Zendaya and all that whatever.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I just sit there and listen.
I'll let the ladies talk.
Be a good boy.
So the Never Enough song, that's what I sang for them. Oh. And so I walked in and I was like, hi, like I'm Liz and everything. They're like, oh, hi, Liz. Okay, well, what are you going to sing for us today? And I was like, I'm going to do Never Enough by The Greatest Showman. And they were like, oh, perfect. Okay, you know. So he started the little karaoke track and everything. And I just stood back and I was like, you know, and then I got to like the part where she like belts. Yeah. And I'm just like, never enough, never, you know, just like going to town. And you know, like I was nervous, so like my breathing wasn't perfect and everything. And like the song finished and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I know my breathing wasn't perfect and everything, but like, you know, and he was like, whoa, 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 whoa. He was like, hold on, let me peel myself off the wall.
Yeah, don't discredit yourself.
That was great. He was like, I did not expect that from you. Nice. He was like, you got some pipes, girl. And I was like, thank you. and everything like that. And so like I was just like this meek little like I feel like I'm pretty good, you know, so I just want to get a little better. And he was like, pretty good? Like, can you not hear yourself? And I'm like, oh, really? He was like, all right, we got to work on this confidence thing. And I was like, okay, you know. And
so you hired a confidence coach.
Exactly. And so, yeah, you know, I just.
But he also teaches you technique, right?
Exactly. Well, I mean, even just a month with working with him, I mean, my singing went from like here to like here. Oh, it was like night and day.
So, on the podcast, most useful tip you've gotten?
Most useful tip?
That other people should know about.
Sorry.
We'll do it for the community.
Well, so definitely, I mean, just like a rule of thumb, and I kind of mentioned this to you before, if you're pushing from like here and you feel like this is where your power comes from, that's the wrong place to get your power. And I'd always learned from like YouTube before working with Tom, a lot of people would be like, well, you have to like, you know, push your diaphragm in and like push those notes out. Mm-hmm. And in reality, you really don't have to push that hard to get those notes out. And so one of the best pieces of advice he gave me is he was like, here's the thing. tell yourself, because you know you can do it, he's like, you can hit those notes, and you know you can hit those notes. He's like, but when you start getting nervous and overthinking, you tense up. So obviously the neck muscles tense up, and it gets like that strained sound to it. And he was like, so one of the techniques that he taught me is like, you do use your diaphragm still, but you almost like push your stomach out a little bit, because it still creates pressure on your diaphragm, but it's only a little bit. So, and I'll put this over here. So basically, like, and he talks about working through the resonance instead of like punching it, you know, because everybody, they think, oh, here's the high note, you know, and you know, they'll go sharp, they'll crack, like something like that. And he's like, use the resonance you already have. So if you're like, and then you push just a little bit with your ab, and you push out just a little bit, you go, and you're really not like straining.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see the neck veins like popping out or anything.
I can't believe you just did that on command. what note was that?
I don't know. I do know.
Dude, give me one more. Give me another.
I want to hear you hit that one.
I can do that. Okay.
No, I don't want to hear it, actually.
No, I want to do it with you.
Do it. See, and like I said, and right there, I saw you tense up and go like this.
Yeah, and
so,
I can hear it.
Right, and you pretty much want to keep everything from like here to here like relaxed, and you just do the little pushing.
Does that
with
work for gurgling? Like,
Well, you know, actually, I asked him one time, because, you know, like a lot of rockers and everything, they have like that growl, or especially like the rockers in the 80s, they had that, like, you know, kind of like real up there. And I was like, how do they do that without just like
murdering
their vocal cords? And he was like, well, to be honest, they don't use their chest voice. He's like, they flip up into their falsetto, they put their tongue on their soft palate, and they basically like narrow the airway, and it creates the higher pitch with less strain. And I was like, what?
That's pretty cool.
I know, and it's just like him talking about the mechanics of it is like crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I had no idea there was like so much to this. You know?
I need a session.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm an associate teacher now, so
are you?
So technically, I have his blessing to teach vocal lessons.
So you're a prodigy of Beyonce, basically.
Protege. Protege.
Yeah, protege.
Sorry. Whatever.
And hey, see that red light on this GoPro right here? Right here.
Oh, right there. Yes.
If you see that not blinking, tell me.
Okay,
It's
I will.
blinking right now, right?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. Slowly blinking.
We should introduce you, I guess.
Sorry, I got you talking.
I know, we just kind of like started right off the bat.
No, that's great.
That's normally what we do. Yes, you're
live.
live.
Okay, we are.
I was checking, yeah. I've been live for a little while.
I really like that.
Been live for 13 minutes.
I'm such like a random noises. Brad makes fun of me all the time for doing mouth guitar.
I'm gonna
introduce
you right now, and then after I say your name, you're gonna get a little solo, okay? Today on the Shred Shed podcast, we have the one and only Liz Casland.
You know it's me, baby. 101.1
KFM.
KFM, baby. Yes, that was great. High fives. High five, dude. High five.
Air high five.
Are you ready for the best podcast of the day?
Should I do the SNL bit?
Can you give me a Shred podcast?
Welcome to Earlshreds podcast, the best podcast for rock and roll. Yeah.
The hardest dudes and the hardest
rock.
Yes.
Hello. Hi, everyone on TikTok. I love you so much.
Oh, yeah, I'm on Facebook.
We do.
Is it
We
Facebook?
love the TikTok.
Is Facebook working?
Facebook's working.
We'll give you some
we
love
don't
to
have the
Facebook, I guess.
No, but the OGs are on Facebook. The real fans.
And I manage the Facebook. He manages the TikTok.
I have more followers on Facebook than TikTok, but the platforms are so different.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
So weird.
Yeah.
They're all, except I think Instagram is pretty much useless, but Facebook and TikTok are where it's at.
I like the ability to share photos the way that Instagram does it.
Yeah.
But I know like they changed things up, you know, to try and like push reels and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
I mean,
they
that's
do better
cool,
on,
but
my pictures do better on Facebook.
Yeah.
yeah.
What about MySpace?
I'm on it.
Yeah, what about MySpace? You still got a
What happened
MySpace
to
profile.
MySpace?
Yeah, I just put Liz in the top 10.
She's my top 3.
No way. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Dude. I just got a new sparkle theme on my MySpace.
What? What is your username?
What's the song you chose for your profile?
Yeah, what's your profile
to
song?
express yourself so people know.
Oh, well, right now it's Ohio because I just finished the Hawthorne Heights concert.
Ohio is for lovers. I almost wore that shirt tonight. Cut my wrist in black Maya.
Cut my wrist in black Maya. Oh, dude, the guitar player / screamer liked that video I did.
Really?
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like, whee!
He brought his GoPro into House of Blues and videoed.
Yes. Hey, you know what? Sometimes like you got to do what you got to do to get video content. That was one of the hardest things for me is I would go to showcases or like do something like that, but it would just be me.
Yeah.
So I didn't have anybody who could like take pictures or film me. So I would like prop my phone up like on a table or something and just pray that nobody walked in front of it while I was performing. And I was like, please have a good video.
Just one song.
Just like
That's all I need.
Just one.
Dang.
It's like muffled from the audio, the camera.
Yeah, or like there's
Someone walks by and it goes, bloop.
or like you get that person that's like sitting at the table next to them and they're just like chatting about I don't know
talking
whatever
shit.
Yeah.
Just like straight up.
Well, there was one video that I was really excited because I think it was like one of the times I like did an original song or whatever. Mm-hmm. And once again, it was I was by myself, so I just kind of had to prop my phone somewhere. And this guy had like a whole ass conversation about just like some shit that was going down, and I was like.
In his live?
No, not in the live. Like, because I wasn't doing it live. I was just recording it. So that
in
like,
his life.
Yeah, in his life. Like, he was whoever was sitting next to him, because, like, you can't see him because the camera was pointed
Just
at me.
hear him.
And you just hear him. He's like, yeah, Becky was, doing blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, the entire time through my song. And I'm
I
like.
wrote an original song and you're telling me about your problems.
Straight post that shit.
Dude's just like talking to whoever next to him about just like the problems going on in his life. And I was like,
he's like,
man, that was a good song too. And
yeah,
I'm listening to Jimmy over here talking about whatever.
That sucks. Next time, tell us and I'll come video.
Yeah, that's
my job.
We're experts. We're experts.
Yeah.
I will gladly come video.
Yeah.
I do it all the time, but it's just phone quality usually.
Well, but honestly, like the phones nowadays, the quality is really good.
Yeah.
Well, I don't trust my parents to film for me though.
It might be them.
Well, no. So actually, at the rodeo, Tom has just such a huge network of people that he like knows, or like people that know people and whatever.
Holland?
And there was a
Tom
McKinney, my vocal coach.
Okay.
And so there was a lady that reached out to him because she was trying to find singers to sing the national anthem to like open the rodeo for like a couple of dates. And, she was like, oh, can you just give me a list of like your top, 6 or
top baddies.
Yeah, 6
top
or 5
list.
or 6 people or whatever. And obviously my name was on the list. And so I reached out to her because they let me know that they gave her my name. And I was like, hey, they told me that they spoke with you about me and everything. And she's like, yeah, what date do you want? And I was like,
oh, I get to pick.
So I picked.
Nice.
And it went really well. But I had my dad film and I showed him how to use my phone because like their iPhones are like 7 years old.
Yeah.
And they refuse to get new phones.
Yeah.
I'm like, you do you. So I showed him exactly how to use my phone, the camera, the video recording, everything like that. And he recorded everything except the national anthem.
No.
And I was like, no! Because I had so many people like, oh, we can't wait to see the video. And I was like, there is no video.
Oh.
That's so sad.
I know. And I know he felt so bad.
I
and
could call up
like,
Space Force and get the satellite footage.
I bet if
Right.
you like put a post out there and say, hey, I sang the national anthem on so-and-so day, I bet somebody out there
Yeah, $3,000.
has a video.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Reward.
Right. Well, I mean, it was like, I think I sang it like 8:30 in the morning.
Oh,
so it
like
was like
before-
super
yeah.
early. And really the people in the crowd, they were there for like the horse cutting.
Yeah.
And everything like that. So, but granted, I wasn't looking out to see if anybody else was filming because I was assuming my dad was filming.
Yeah. Thanks, Dad.
Thanks,
We still love you.
It's like, I still love you, but Mom's going to record from now on.
Yeah. Oh, man.
We had the pleasure to meet them at the show.
I know. I got to talk to them. Yeah.
They're so sweet.
I actually met them, and I didn't meet you, so.
Yeah. Well, I know that by the time they were talking to y'all, like, they were already like, come on, get on the stage. And we were like, oh, okay.
Yeah, y'all were performing when we were talking to them, so.
Yeah, we were sitting back there listening to y'all.
Your mom is so sweet.
Oh, she is. She's so sweet.
She's the best.
And she's such an animal lover. Like, she is just obsessed with the little chickens that we've got at my place now. And she, like, started naming them. And we have this this little group of 3 chicks that we got after the initial 6 that we bought. And, you know, they're all siblings and everything like that. And there's 3 of them. And we're like, man, I wonder who's a hen and who's a rooster. And there's one of them that was like real protective. And he's like, hey. And he's like, he's just a little guy. And I was like, that guy's Big Daddy. And we're going to call him Big Daddy. Because like we put
Is it a rooster?
We're pretty sure he's a rooster. Oh, it's still technically too young to tell.
Yeah.
But just based on like how we've watched the roosters that like my neighbors have act, we're like, that's
Definitely.
rooster
You
behavior.
can tell.
Yeah. So,
You know how you tell, right?
well, I've got spurs, and then
He's about to tell you something really dumb.
It's
All
not
right,
dumb.
yes. Please enlighten me.
You know how you tell all mammals, every mammal on Earth,
Joe
you
Rogan.
can tell if it's female or male by, they all share one thing you can tell by. You know what it is?
What?
Taint length.
Literally.
All mammals.
We've talked about this,
Yeah, all mammals, females have 50% on average smaller taint length. So you go go check those all your chickens.
You're like,
yeah.
let me see your asshole.
Yeah, well, and between the 2.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, chickens just have holes.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my God.
but yeah, you can go out there and you'll tell if he's a boy.
Right.
What if he identifies as a girl?
But I found out this information. Well,
I'm just kidding.
that's where I lose. Never mind. I don't want to get banned.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
It's the way it is. But I learned this from, dude, it's a really underground podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know if you heard of it. It's the Joe Rogan podcast. It's like
You might not have heard of it.
You know, I don't know if you've ever heard of this person.
Yeah,
like,
I
he's
don't
kind of
know.
small.
He's kinda-
Did you ever watch Fear Factor?
Kind of sucks. Yeah.
Remember him, the guy that hosted it?
Yeah, I mean, this
Oh
one's
my
way
gosh.
bigger. This podcast right now is
Yeah.
Joe Rogan, you're done. Bye. But,
I mean, have you ever heard of Earlshreds?
Yeah, he lives in, of course, I live in Austin. Like, he's like, oh, since I love Texas so much. I'm like, dude, you live in the worst city, and that's in this state.
I think it depends on what like you're looking for though, because like I know some people they just want to be walking distance from like bars, restaurants, blah 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 blah. They are looking for a certain scene and everything like that. And it's like, I mean, if that's your boat, you know,
I'm looking
float,
for
baby,
grass.
you know.
Until I carpet bomb that city.
Oh my gosh. You're
What
going to get...
What are you looking for in your city? Ruins? Charred out, burnt ruins?
Oh my gosh.
There's nothing in Austin but
Concrete.
the demise of everything that is
Well, I noticed like because
beautiful.
last year I got a chance to sing in South by Southwest, and it wasn't like a huge venue or anything, but it was still like a really cool experience. And I got an Airbnb that was fairly close to where I was going to be performing and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things I find really interesting about, and just any city, you know, because I notice it in parts of Houston too, where you'll have like a part of the city that's like in the baby phases of like being renovated and everything like that. And you'll go through like almost these desert areas where, you know, everything's kind of run down or it's boarded up, closed, getting ready to like be demolished. You're just kind of sitting there.
Pre-gentrification.
Exactly. And then it's like, it's almost like there's this invisible line and then poof into like these fancy shops and houses and apartments and everything. And you're just like,
where did that come from?
and you're just like, didn't I just
Isn't
like, what?
Isn't it gross?
New dimension.
Yeah, it's.
Don't you hate it? I hate it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not really a city person. When I grew up in Michigan, and we had like a fourth of an acre that backed up on woods, and
I'm not
so,
really
like,
a person.
Be quiet. Let her talk.
I'm not
right.
really a person. I'm just shred.
Yeah, I just vibe.
I'm full shred.
I just do vibes. But I'm a country person too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why I moved out to New Caney is because, you know, I lived in an apartment for a little while out in the Humble area. And like it was a very nice apartment. You know, they had good amenities, the apartment was a good size, but I mean, by the time I moved out, the amount that I was paying for rent, I was like, I might as well be paying for a mortgage.
Yeah.
You know, and I just felt really confined, and like I wanted to do a lot more recording because I'd gotten, you know, equipment to do recording, and it was impossible to record anything of like really good quality in the apartment.
Yeah.
You know, because everything echoed real weird, or I mean that was just the space, but also, you know, all day and all night, constantly people in and out of their apartments, and you'd hear the door slams, and so like I'd be doing a take or something, and then in the middle of it just slam, you know, from the neighbor next door, and then the dogs would freak out and everything, and I'm like, I can't record anything.
That's miserable.
I know, and it was so frustrating because like I was trying to learn my software and everything like that, and I just couldn't get good quality recordings because of all like the noise pollution and everything. Mm-hmm. And so when I found this property that I live at now, I mean, it's just like, it's like an acre, and like there's woods right next door to me. And, you know, so I used one of the guest rooms in my trailer and I just built my little studio.
That's cool.
Did the whole like blankets and everything in the little closet where my microphone is. Yep. And, I mean, it's night and day with like the recording quality. It's crazy.
And you have like a yard and your own space to do it. And chickens.
And now I have chickens.
Yeah.
Now I'm like a chicken mom.
Aw. You need a little shirt.
Look at all those chickens.
Look at all those chickens.
Look at all the chickens.
It's one of my favorite videos.
Oh my gosh, I know. There are so many vines that I'll run across because like now vines are like making a resurgence on the other platforms.
I wish I would have been a Vine influencer.
I love like the Vine compilations that show up on TikTok. It's like best of, and one of them is like the chicken ones.
That one almost always makes it. Yeah, that's a good one.
And a little boy
gets my levels up.
Oh,
there was what was the one? It was the guy who was like, how much money do you have? I have like 69 cents. They were like, well, what does that mean?
I can't buy a chicken.
Oh, that's a classic.
I saw that one yesterday.
Or like the if life gives you lemons guy. Well, life gives you lemons.
I love Vine.
Fresh avocado?
Yeah, free shabakadoo.
My favorite are the Nick Coletti ones. The dude.
Dude. I like
the one where he's dancing. He's like, just balling with my bros.
I like the little boy with the avocado. It's an avocado.
Oh, yeah. They were like, let's give our son a weird gift and see what happens.
And he's so, like, gentle with it. He's like, hey.
Dude, TikTok is savage, though, because they started putting those Vine compilations on TikTok, but they would edit in, like, violent war footage randomly in the middle. So,
ooh. Be like, surprise! They're like, oh.
Wasn't expecting that.
It's the same way. Remember the cooking videos and they would just like flash?
Oh no, I've seen where they start throwing stuff and like breaking stuff. And...
No, the one with the cooking videos, they just flash like it's a guy cooking and it's just two dudes kissing. And then it goes back.
No, I haven't seen those.
In the comments like, whoa.
Like, whoa.
What was that?
Like, hold on, we gotta watch that again.
Like, that shit looks really good, but what was that picture?
No, I've seen the ones where they're mixing all these ingredients, like, oh, we're gonna make this, and then it's like throw the flour, and then it's like they throw like paint and like just random stuff in it.
You know, I've discovered like a subgenre to like the cooking TikToks, and it's like almost like shock cooking TikToks where their goal is not to make something good or even edible. It's just to like see how much they can piss people off.
Yes, that's basically what I'm talking about. Yeah, and people used to tag me in them, and I'm like, stop it.
It's like some sorority girl. She's just like throwing eggs in a blender with the shell. Like, today we're eating as the roll. And it's like the nastiest thing you ever.
Well, I saw one where they were like, it was some meatloaf or whatever, but they were like mixing it in the sink. And
yes, and then it's like.
I've seen that one, dude.
It's so gross.
I was just like, ugh.
So you're a TikToker.
Yes.
You're a TikToker?
She is.
Yes.
What's your username? I need to follow you. We all need to follow.
Liz Casland.
CAS.
LAND, yes. So LIZCASLAND.
Everybody on the podcast, go give Liz Casland a quick boom boom.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and I try to keep
all
the
things.
usernames pretty much like the same. So I know Instagram is Liz_Casland, and then TikTok is Liz Casland. But that way, I figure like it's a little bit easier for people to like find me across the platform.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Smash that follow button so hard.
So hard.
You're gonna get tried at the Geneva Convention for war crimes.
Kitchen said
destroy his like button.
You're gonna appreciate this because Kitchen just said his favorite vine was the dude on the porch, and they were roommates.
That's why we're buddies, Ryan.
That's one of Dalton's favorite too.
That's awesome.
And they were roommates.
And they were, oh my god! And so they were.
He said, "Oh my god, they were roommates."
Dude, Ryan posted a funny meme today. I can't say it, but it was hilarious.
Oh, I think I saw that.
I'm definitely a meme person. Like
my Facebook is just memes.
Yes.
I try my whole brand. I feel like a meme.
Yeah, you're a meme.
Yeah, I feel like that's why I'm so hated because I'm a meme. Because I gave up like artistic vision and like skill and talent. Like I gave up talent for me. Like practice and like
do it for the meme.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, I can make troll videos and funny videos and still be a musician.
One of my favorite memes is the one from that scene from The Lord of the Rings. One does not simply like, and then whatever it is underneath. That is always one of my favorite memes. And then the other one is it was like a blog that this woman did, and it was like very crude drawings, but like they were so funny. And it's like all the things, and it's like got these kind of like frog eyes, and like a little like
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like all the things.
I wish I could remember the account, but there's a video that the Hobbit music. Like that real nice Hobbit music.
Yeah.
It's like they're an influencer account, but the dude's like 5'1" and she's like 6'5".
It's like
but they're both really no, it's not like us.
Sorry.
Not at all. But they're both really handsome and they like embrace it. But she posted a video they were hiking and he was there in the woods. And she was filming him like, and you could tell she's like way up here. And it had the Hobbit music, and it was like
he's like so small.
Yeah, it was like do 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 do, and it was like when your short king takes you hiking, and I was like,
oh my gosh, that is brilliant.
That's awesome.
But I feel like every good relationship, you have to be able to like take each other's shit like a little bit, as long as it's in like a loving way.
Yeah.
No, when we go out, I guess she likes them, but I feel like she's trolling people, or we are, because she wears like 4-inch high heels.
I wear like platform combat boots when we go out.
So she's like,
so I'm like 6'5" when we go places.
Yeah, and then
he's like hugging me, and I'm like, oh.
You're like, oh, you're so cute.
So cute.
So cute.
And like all like the 7 foot tall like jog dudes are like, what the fuck? They're like looking at like, what am I doing wrong?
See, and then you look over at him and you're like, that's right.
She's nice.
Yeah, I have done that.
Yeah.
I've literally had like
like a 6'8" guy walked up to me one time.
And like was trying to hit on her. And then literally it took him so long to figure out that we were dating just because he couldn't believe it. And then when he did, he went, he was like, why are you with him? And I was like, hey bro, I'm right here, dog. Like, what? And
didn't see it on there.
Yeah. And I mean, I
could squash him with my boots.
Yeah. Just like a little.
I could do it.
I'll call an airstrike real quick. Like I said, I have the U.S. Army. I have the Air Force on my side.
Oh my gosh.
But see, like, especially with someone at that height, like, you just sneak around, like,
stealth.
Ninja.
Yeah, stealth mode.
It's like, oh my god, where did he come from? I didn't even see him.
No, the most savage thing you got to say now is if you're a man and you want to really embarrass another dude, say easy pickings.
I don't know what that means.
Just look at a guy and go, dude, you're easy pickings.
Does that mean like you're not cream of the crop?
It's a man. Just go knit or.
Excuse you.
Pardon me. I crochet.
Yeah, I do underwater basket weaving.
No way.
Yes.
Get my hobbies right.
No, get it together. My 6-year-old likes to play pretend too. No way.
Wow.
Oh man.
Okay, so
hold on, let me see. Okay.
No, I have a comment. So we have a friend. His name's Neil, and his son's name is Dalton. And he is also an aspiring singer and songwriter.
Oh, very nice.
And he just turned 16.
Ooh, right.
And he said, so Neil is his dad. Neil said Junior needs to talk to Liz because he blew his voice completely out last week, struggling with his high notes. So
let's give him a tip.
Yeah. Well, she did earlier talking about, like, you don't have to blow yourself
Give him another
up.
one. Come on. For the community.
Yeah, for the community.
Vibes.
Well, so one of the things that really helps is honestly some of the warm-up exercises. And some of them are so simple. And one of the things that I like to joke about is that the warm-ups are so simple, but they make you look so stupid, which is one of the reasons why a lot of people don't do them. They're like, oh man, I don't want to look uncool. I'm like, okay, so you're just going to blow out your voice?
Yeah.
You do you, boo, you know?
Like we were saying earlier, you look real cool after the show going,
yeah,
that was a great show, guys. You know, and it's like, all right, yeah, you okay there, buddy? You gonna be okay for tomorrow? It's like So one of my absolute favorite exercises for like warm-ups is it's called siren, like a siren.
Yep.
So you start in like a lower note and then you basically work your way to a higher note, and what it actually really helps you with is the connection between your chest, your mix, and your falsetto. Okay. Because you're basically working through the register where you normally crack.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because like we used to do sirens in like, you know, theater.
I was about to say I was in theater, so I know a lot of warm-ups.
So and I was in theater all throughout high school, and that was one of our warm-ups was the sirens. But I mean it's so helpful to like work through, and that's where you can start to combine the techniques where you're doing a siren but you're focusing on where your oomph is coming from basically, which is like your lower abdomen. And I kind of visualize it as like your abdomen is like your fuel tank for your air. And you don't want to be like, you know, sucking in here. You want to be sucking in down here. And like I said, just gentle push out of the abdomen to
can we get a little
help.
Example?
So like for like a good siren, you know, you kind of go, and a lot of times putting your hand on your abdomen can help remind you to like push until you start doing it just from muscle memory.
It's like working out.
Exactly. And so like you can hold your hand like kind of on your abdomen, like down here, and you start at like a note you're comfortable. Generally you want to start somewhere in your chest voice. Go, and then you work up in like the tone. So then you go to the next higher note and you do that, and then you do that. But you focus on not pushing too much, because if you push too much, your body wants to tighten up, and then this tightens up. So you want to try and keep everything loose. Yeah. And a lot of another really good thing is a lot of people think that if you open your mouth like super wide, like you'll get better sound, and that's not always the case. There are times you want to like open your mouth more, but you never want to open your mouth this way. You want to open your mouth this way. And a lot of it is just conserving the air, because you don't want to waste air, especially if you're singing a song that has long phrases and, you know, it's really difficult with breathing. Because believe it or not, one of the toughest songs that I sing, not like vocally, but breath work wise, is Love Story by Taylor Swift.
Because it's just like a bunch of all together. Yeah.
It's real quick, and there's not a whole lot of room to take good breaths.
She's a master with breath work.
Oh, I know.
The tour she's on now is 3 hours without a break.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It is.
Is it CASLAND?
CASLAND. Yes. Okay. And anybody who follows me, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, anything like that, I do accept DMs. So if anybody has questions about lessons or questions about where to find my music or anything like that, I'm more than happy to interact with followers and everything like that. So
there you go, guys.
Someone asked me to type your name in, like your TikTok name in the chat.
Yeah.
So.
Look what I'm doing for you guys.
Well, and in terms of TikTok, you know, right now, a lot of it, like there is some of my music stuff on there. When I first started the account, I did a lot of like widow content, you know, and everything like that. I've been on a hiatus with like posting for a while, just because like there's been some stuff in my life I've been dealing with, and you know, trying to be like, hey, let me spend a few hours making content. I'm like, I just don't always have time for that. But now that like things have settled with moving and everything like that, I'm definitely probably within the next couple of weeks going to really start posting, because I'm like, man, if I start posting, I want to be consistent about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Makes sense.
but I do still post very regularly on my Instagram, at least with like, you know, pictures of shows, and I always like, you know, doing makeup stuff. And
I know. I've been looking at your eyeliner all night. Like, I love it.
It took me so long to be at least mostly consistent with like being able to apply.
Yeah.
Well, and when I first started doing like shows, it was so it was so frustrating, because, you know, you look at like the big stars and everything, and they've got this gorgeous makeup and it never runs off their face and like whatever. And I remember I was performing at Margaritaville in their club. And
Jimmy Buffett's?
The one in Conroe?
The one in Conroe, the Margaritaville there in Conroe.
It's a resort.
Yeah, and it's honestly really cool. Like, they've got a couple different pool areas, a couple different bars. They've always got stuff going on. Honestly, it was like a great, if you just want to like get away for a weekend, it was a cool little spot.
That's where our next offsite for work is.
Nice.
Awesome.
It was a really nice little resort. And so we, the band I was with at the time, we were playing in the Boathouse, which is like their club. And I was like, man, I'm going to do this cool eye makeup look and everything like that. And after our first set, I went into the bathroom and it was just melted all down my face. And I was like, oh, no. I was like, why?
All that hard work.
So really,
it just like melted
I pretty much just had to wipe off everything that ran, and yeah, because I was like, man, like I would love to have a cool eye makeup look, because you know, I'll get women or something coming up and being like, wow, I really like your makeup. How did you do that? And, you know, we'll chit chat about makeup, but it took me so long to find a mascara and an eyeliner that could last an entire show and not just melt off my face.
Yeah.
And I was so angry, because like I like doing like the really cool eye makeup, but if it runs, then it runs in my eye during the show, and I'm like, you know, like, I love rock. My eyeball, it's burning. You know, like, I'm like, I don't want to have that happen.
No.
So. Usually with like shows where I know we're going to be like outside or it's going to be hot or something, I go a little bit, you know, plain on the makeup and everything.
And you do it all yourself?
Mm-hmm.
You need a little flamboyant boy to follow you around and do this stuff.
Flamboyant boy.
Well, actually,
little metro boy, you know?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be cute? Little real caramel skin, but blonde, but bleach blonde hair. Yeah, I mean, just.
And he's like, hold on. Get off the stage.
Yeah. Let me blot.
Let me blot.
Always T-Rex arms.
Black girl, you know.
Always.
Yes.
Well, one of my really good friends, he's actually a very well-known drag queen out in Galveston.
How cool.
And him and his husband, he's a DJ, and like they do all sorts of really cool events, and they actually help organize like Pride Galveston and everything like that. Just two wonderful individuals.
Yeah.
And he came and did my makeup for some of my photo shoots and my one music video, because he's very, very talented.
I'm sure you had those cheekbones like,
oh man, like my face was cinched.
Yes.
And it looked amazing. Just every time he did my makeup, I was like, how can I even just have an ounce of like the ability that you have with makeup?
Bad bitches only.
Oh man, I know. And it's just like, so I tried to learn a little bit as he was like doing my makeup, sort of like how it was feeling, like what he was doing. And of course, not gonna lie, learned a lot from TikTok.
Yeah, seriously, me too, yeah.
Dude, I will watch like the makeup tutorials and I'm like,
I love them.
That's hot,
pretty
huh?
sick. I was like, that's a sick
Should I start
eyeshadow.
doing those?
Dude, do some eyeshadow looks, you know?
For sure.
Hell yeah.
I love watching that kind of stuff. I used to watch YouTube like a long time ago before TikTok was a thing.
I really enjoy the creators who can do like the really interesting cuts where they're like tap, 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 poof. And then like suddenly it's like down. You're like, whoa.
How did that happen?
Yeah. It's just like, my thing that always blows my mind is the ease at which they put on eyeliner. They're just like, perfect. And you're like,
And I'm like,
and you like, I know you're like drawing it on, and you're like, don't shake, it's got to be perfect.
yes. And then,
and then it's like, and then you look at yourself, and like they're like this.
or you blink, and it's like you have a black line up here.
Oh, I know.
I have a lot of dudes comment and say I wear makeup.
You look like you wear mascara.
Okay.
It's just because of your darker eyelashes, though. You know, I have to say, one of the most annoying things about guys is they have gorgeous eyelashes.
I know.
That's
And
what I
I
say. I was gonna say or because I'm beautiful.
Okay.
It is also both.
It could be
both.
But
You're like,
meanwhile, I pulled all my eyelashes out at one time because anxiety, and now they're like blonde and short, and stubby. Like,
I want to be a TikTok star. Look at TikTok. Give me. Oh, I got one viewer right now. TikTok, please give me. I'll do anything.
Neil said you're going after that Bud Light sponsorship.
Oh yes, sir. I want to, but dude, let's talk a little bit about one of my favorite beers, Bud Light.
No.
Why do we love Bud Light? Why, guys? Because of its crisp, refreshing, ice cold flavor? No. We love Bud Light. Because it's they, them's beer.
Stop.
It's not my beer. It's not his beer.
It's their beer?
it's everybody's beer.
Yeah. Well, don't assume everybody's.
Bud Light is shit.
I feel like everybody is pretty inclusive of any person in general.
Yeah.
That's for everybody.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you like, what you don't like. Crack open that Bud Light.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to still drink Bud Light. I'm going to still drink Bud Light if it's free.
I'm not.
Yeah, that's my position on it.
I'll pay for a better beer. Sorry.
It was pretty funny to troll, but then it's like, I started seeing the videos where it's some dude with like the black and white filter, and he's in the woods going, I drink Bud Light for 40 years. And I'll never have enough. I'm like, damn, dude, it's not
that big of a deal.
It's like, it's not that whatever.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
I'll take the position that I think beers, Miller Lite, every ad from Miller Lite is just a nice clean color background and a cold Miller Lite.
Yeah.
It's like, I think beer companies would just be best just doing that.
I remember, what was the brand that did the Real Men of Genius?
That was Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
It was Busch.
Well, it's just Bud Light.
Yeah, and then I always loved the Budweiser ads that they would play like years and years and years ago during the Super Bowl with the frogs.
Yes.
And like, what was the things that was always trying to get the beer from the frogs? It was like weasels or something.
Oh, that's it. I bet
And they would be
Ryan.
Coors Light?
Why?
No.
Sir.
Yes.
The
Yeah, it was
Budweiser.
Red-
The Budweiser frogs. Yeah.
Yeah, red can Budweiser.
Yeah. Those ads were so funny. I remember watching those.
Of course, I like the.
I loved those ads so much.
I like the
Real
Clydesdales.
Oh, those are such beautiful horses.
I know.
My dad used to
They're
work at the
massive.
Budweiser brewery.
Oh yeah.
Ryan said, "Real trans man of genius." Stop.
You guys are so bad.
I know.
You're so bad.
He said all the TikToks about Bud Light today have been killing me. Your dad worked at the. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Your dad worked at the brewery.
Should I make a TikTok about Bud Light?
No.
I haven't made a TikTok today. I wonder what I should make it about. Well, I didn't have an internet that really pissed me off.
Well, that sounds like we need some suggestions, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
apparently he's open and willing to do anything for TikTok.
Yeah, dude,
I want you to do
so
the neon moon
desperate.
dance.
When the sun goes down.
On the side of town.
and
Lonesome feeling.
I just want you to do a dance TikTok, like one of those dance trends that happened during COVID. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like just bring one of those back.
Okay, yeah, totally. What would I do?
Like one of the most popular ones. I don't know.
Or like you should do one of the dances, but do the entire dance with a beer in your hand.
Yeah, like very just,
Thank you, Liz.
yeah, make sure you don't spill
Be
it.
like,
Yeah,
like just the beer stable the whole time.
yeah. Hold my beer and watch this, but I'm going to hold my own beer.
Or just straight like radical communist rhetoric.
That's a normal day.
Oh no.
Like, wait a minute, guys, I got an idea for TikTok, and you scroll and you look at the video. It's like, we need to take power back in the hands of the proletariat immediately.
Stop.
And bitch.
And you're cut off.
I thought you were going to do a dancing video.
Wait, I thought this was dancing.
It's time to take power back in the workers' hands.
I thought you were going to teach me how to do Footloose.
You can do Footloose inside of Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, no. Oh, man.
The only
Anyways,
the only
moving
dance I
on.
do is this to the national anthem.
Actually,
Yes,
you know
sir.
what? I have a funny story about holding a beer and like not dancing per se. So this past weekend, my friend Brad and I, he plays guitar for me, and we kind of have like a little acoustic duo thing going on. And so we played for our friend's wedding, and we went to Papa's on the Lake the next day for brunch, and it was beautiful. I loved it. It was a really cool place, and they have this little pool area, and a few of our friends had gone into the pool area, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go and chit chat with them. So I had my beer and my flip-flop. I wasn't drunk or anything, not even tipsy. And there was a step up, and my flip-flop caught the very edge of it, and I just ate shit. Just ate so much shit.
Hell yeah, brother.
And I was like laying on my back, like laughing hysterically and being like, I'm okay. And then I was like, but don't worry, I saved half my beer.
It's still here, guys.
And like literally there were just people going like, yeah.
That's all they care about.
And then the next time I walked into the pool area, like I eyed that step and I was like, I'm not tripping this time. And then somebody from like another table, no idea who this was, just a random person, was like, watch out for that step. I was like, I got it.
Thank
not this
you.
time.
Oh my
Start
god.
crying. Stop it.
No.
Are you okay?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. I got a little road rash on my knee, but I mean it's whatever.
But you held your beer.
Exactly.
It's cool.
I saved half that beer.
There you go.
What beer was it?
It was I think it was a Stella.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
Artois?
Stella Artois.
Stella Artois.
That's
Yeah, that's
oui, oui.
oui, oui.
Oh,
Oui, oui,
God.
étant né pipi. That's French, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's making me want to go on vacation.
Oh.
We were talking about this at work the other day because we have an Italian guy that works with us,
yeah.
and we have another guy. He's from Pakistan, and he was saying we were at our offsite at work, and the Italian was talking. His name's Roberto. Anyways, Roberto was talking, and Gohar, this is our Pakistani.
Yeah.
He was like looking at one of our other people, like making fun of him, and he was going.
Oh no.
And so he told me the story.
no.
Gohar was telling me the story, and then Roberto walks out. We're like in a hotel, like meeting room. He walks
Yeah.
out, and he was like talking to him, and he said something. He was like, "Yeah, Gohar," and he was like, because he saw him Gohar was making fun of Roberto
so
while he was
like,
talking.
Oh, I know you're talking shit.
Yes, and so Roberto walked out, and he was like, and Gohar was just like,
Oh,
"Oh
that's
shit!"
it.
Oh no.
That's how Europeans fight.
But it was like he was like joking with him. Like he's like, he doesn't care. Like that's a thing. But like he says, like, you know, Italians do that when they're like talking. It's just like a gesture. But then there's like in
Right.
some cultures, it's like not a good thing.
Right. Well, actually, so whenever I was younger, my parents took us to Europe, and we traveled around like during our summer vacation and everything. And because like my parents traveled there when they were younger, and like my dad speaks fluent German, my mom speaks fluent French, and so that's basically how like
Why?
we were able to get around. Well, so my dad, he went abroad, and so he was traveling around Europe with his friend. And
Is he German?
well, I mean, we definitely have German heritage. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at me, I'm like a stereotypical
Yeah,
white
that's
person with like the stereotypical list of like, you know, generally white countries in my genetic background and everything. And but we'd go, and it was just so crazy because they'd always like have a chat with us before we would go, and they're like, "All right, guys, listen, we know that like here you can say okay, you know, give the little," and they were like, "Whatever you do not do that when you're in Europe." And we're like, "What?" They were like, "Yeah, when you do this in Europe, it's basically like you're telling somebody they're an asshole."
Yeah.
And we were like, "What?" So but once again, it's just so interesting to see how different like communication, even just like hand gestures are, you know, like across countries and everything.
You know, in 1931 in Germany, they made the guillotine illegal. They got rid of the guillotine as a punishment when you got the guillotine. Because it was too French, and they replaced it with the battle axe. Oh, no. That's true.
Irrelevant.
A battle axe. I mean, if it came to a guillotine or a battle axe, I mean, the battle axe seems pretty dope.
It's more badass.
That was actually one of the reasons that helped get the big man with the H got elected, because the prime minister in 1931 was brought on to like keep the dude with the H letter from getting more powerful.
Can he not
but
say
instead
that?
of, I don't know.
It's dicey.
Yeah, it's dicey. I mean, even if I'm not even saying, but they hired the prime minister then to get rid of him, but instead of like politically working to stop him from getting more power, his first order of business was to outlaw the guillotine.
Oh, jeez.
Because it was deemed too French, and it needed to be replaced with the German short battle axe.
Oh, no.
And when I learned that fact, I said, wow, that's incredibly middle Europe.
Oh, my gosh.
It's always so interesting to...
Which is one of my favorite Europes. The closer you get to the water in Europe, the more I hate them. France, way too close to the water. Way too...
They're literally a peninsula.
Yeah, but you know, the good sturdy people in the middle, and then in the R country, which those are my people.
The R country?
Well, I feel like, well, and it's so interesting just to look at like cultures in general, because like all the people that are along like coasts and everything, they had access, like especially in times where, you know, the economy was bad or anything like that. Well, like, you know, they had access to like fishing and things like that. Whereas like when you get more towards the middle of Europe, it's like if you didn't have farming, like you're screwed when it came to food.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't
Hardy,
have
violent people.
Yeah, and so, you know, you wind up with communities that are like, all right, well, this is all we have to work with, so, like, we got to make it work. And then, you know, the countries that are along the coast, you know, they could at least most of the time with, like, food shortages, they're like, well, we at least have fishing, you know?
Yeah, so, and just perfumes and stuff. But
oh, right. Well, I mean...
Just give me a solid, like, 5'1", really hairy white guy. Just in a field in middle Europe,
anyway,
hasn't drank water in hasn't had a sip of actual water in 15 years.
Well, it's so interesting to think, like, especially back in like the Middle Ages and everything, people really didn't do anything except drink alcohol the vast majority of the time, because alcohol was the only thing that was basically safe to drink.
That's what I tell people now.
You're like, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just really safe with like what I drink.
I just don't trust Kingwood's tap water. It's not. I have to drink all the time.
It's like, I mean, what else can you do? You know, with the water, it might be contaminated, so I guess I just have to drink beer.
No, it is. That's why. Yeah, they were savages. I'm ready to go back to that time.
It was like
personally, I'm done with this.
Wine and mead, though, right? Because it was like fermented.
No, it was pretty strong.
No, well, yeah, I was going to say, and of course the distilling process for all these various types of alcohols were always different. And especially like in Europe, if you were in an area that supported things like vineyards, then you had access to wine. Whereas, you know, basically if you only had access to grains, your options were like mead and, you know, like the real early forms of like ale, beer, and things like that. And what was really cool, because like my dad's a huge history buff, so we'd always go to Europe and we'd visit like monasteries and castles and things like that. And one of the really cool kind of like little historical facts about a lot of the monasteries is especially in Germany, Europe, everything like that, that's where the beer was brewed, was at the monasteries. The monks were the ones that brewed the beer.
I believe it.
Yeah.
That's why they don't talk. Yeah. They don't want to tell their secrets.
They're like, we don't talk because you can't have a recipe.
They kept the best of themselves. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
So Tom, I'm ready to go back to that time. Very much so.
I mean, I would rather not have to like go to the bathroom in the street or like dump it out my window.
Sounds like a good plan.
I don't want to go sit in a hole in the dirt. Yeah, I'm good.
Sounds like sounds like a good, yeah.
Basic hygienic things like a shower and a sink and a toilet.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with that.
I'm good with those.
I'll keep that. Can I like pick and choose?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, can we like...
Yeah.
When people at my shows, they come up to me and they're like, "Oh, you're playing too loud." I'm like, if it was 200 years ago, I'd ride in your town on a horse and just take everything you have.
You'd be like that traveling bard that would just come in, let me sing you a song of my journeys, and they're like, shut up!
Yeah,
throwing tomatoes at him.
That's what
I always think of him as just like the court jester.
That's what I'm saying. I'm ready for shit hit the fan.
You're the bastard.
Yeah, and it goes back to tribalness, kings and queens. I'll be oh, my lord.
You're like, I'll be the funny guy.
My lord.
My lord, what would you like me to do today?
Until one day I like pick on his feet or something and he chops my head off.
Oh my god.
And then he's like, you're not funny. To the battle axe station. Like, no.
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, your feet smell today, my lord. And then it'd be like, off with your head. And then like
still true. Ask the folks in East Palestine. I don't know when he sent that, but I don't know what we were talking about.
In Iraq?
I don't know.
No, East Palestine, like Ohio.
Ohio, Iraq, same thing. No, I'm just kidding. I have an East Palestine T-shirt, and all the profits are donated. It's me.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's me in a cloud with my guitar, and there's a train, and I'm shooting a laser beam at it to stop it. Pretty sick.
Yeah, stop this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and it
says people over profits.
Right. Well, and I'll only mention this briefly, but I mean, I find it so sad that we keep having like water source issues. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, years ago there was the Flint water crisis. They still don't have water. Yeah, they still do not really have safe water.
You know what CNN showed for 3 hours straight yesterday? A picture of Trump's plane on the tarmac. Yeah.
And I'm like, aw, that's really unfortunate. And then, you have these people who are basically stuck in Ohio. Like they don't have the funds to just get up and leave. I mean, that's their home. And then they have a situation where they're like, well, we're being told it's safe, but literally I put creamer in my coffee and it bubbled.
Yeah.
Has never done that before. And I'm like, and it's just, stinks because it's like, well, our water sources are so important for the longevity of our communities, farming, everything like that. And it's really unfortunate. And, it's really sad. But,
you know what?
Too many crises like that.
Yeah.
Way too many.
When people say that, what you exactly just said, and they bring it up to politicians in Washington, they think, where? They go, where is Ohio? And then they get a tweet, and then that's it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I think, actually, and some of them would actually prefer that they're like, well, this is just expediting the process of them just not existing.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely a group that are very just more interested in well, if it doesn't affect me, then it's not really important to me. Yeah. And it's really unfortunate that that's the views of some people. And,
it's
hopefully.
It's a group of 400. It's a group, called Congress, Senate, and then the White House, yeah. Three groups.
Like I said, it's unfortunately, it's in overall, it's in local governments, it's, and it's
I think,
really unfortunate.
Man, that black dude that yells, he's my favorite politician.
I don't know.
There's a couple of people that yell.
I was about to say a lot of them yell.
There's a lot of them yell.
There's that one.
Quan LX.
No, he's funnier, dude. Dude, he's such a troll. He goes to city council meetings, and like when people complain at him, he'll just mock them. And he talks really loud. Damn.
But, oh my gosh, sounds like you. That's why you like it.
I'm very close to becoming a
You're
politician.
like, he's my Patronus.
Yeah, seriously.
My cream star.
Stop.
Oh, actually, I have a question for you. What is the most memorable moment on stage that you can think of for you? I'm sure you probably have quite the plethora to choose from.
Yeah.
Do you want an inappropriate moment, or do you want like
that's
like
I mean,
starshine
it's your
moment?
podcast. You can pick which story you choose.
Kitchen said, "Damn it, I was typing Quan LX." That's what I said.
Yeah,
We're on the same wavelength.
It is Quan L. I don't know. Fuck, I can't.
I'm
do
going
you
to answer
think?
mine right what you think.
Go for it.
My most memorable moment of him on stage is probably like just seeing him play on the Lukenbach stage.
Ooh.
Because I was like, honestly, it was like very early on in our
Probably
relationship.
that,
We had
yeah.
only been together like maybe a month or so.
Oh, okay.
And he invited me to that show. And it was like their first big show was at Lukenbach. And they opened up for John Wolfe and Roger Krager. And I just remember like one of his friend or all of their friends had like an extra shirt, like a button down black shirt that he put on. And I like, his hair wasn't this long yet. So it wouldn't all go in a bun.
Yeah.
And so he did like a little half up, half down, like man bun. And he like,
And you were out there like,
yeah. And I just remember like he looked really good. And then like they were on stage and I've seen him play multiple shows before that.
Sure.
But like, that was just such a big moment. And his mom was there and like she loves Willie Nelson. Like, you know, Lukenbach was just very historical. And
It
so
was
like,
probably that, yeah.
like that was just like it, when I think about shows, like that's like top tier for me.
oh, that's
That's
cool.
probably the
Yeah.
biggest show, yeah. And the most memorable.
That's awesome.
And then when the girl grabbed his dick.
Oh, no.
That, I mean, I didn't want to say that, but I won't.
I knew you wanted to,
I
so.
won't forget that.
Yeah. I knew that's what you were thinking. So
It's either, no, I mean, I'll never forget that, but the most memorable is the two, Lukenbach and the Trump rally.
Oh, okay.
Or the Trump boat
the
parade.
boat parade.
Boat
Yeah,
parade.
I was not politically affiliated. I was just paid to play a game.
Right. You're like,
But it
they
was-
paid for me to play.
Yeah.
But it was sick.
Yeah.
And then, not even, I remember the whole Lukenbach show. I remember every moment. The Trump rally, I really.
You're just kind of like cruising through it. a
No,
little bit.
it's most memorable because I played the Star Spangled Banner, and it was just like
okay.
the rest of the show. I don't remember, but I
Did
just
you go on? Did you go like full on Jimi Hendrix with it?
That's what I always tell him. Like, give me the Jimmy version.
No, I didn't. I didn't practice at all. Brandon, the dude I was playing with, was like, play the Star Spangled Banner. I was like,
You were like, what?
I was like, oh, I'm okay. There's like a bunch of, there's like, not just the Trump support, like the real ones were there.
They come out of the woodworks. They come out of New Caney.
They kind of like pop out there like, we're still.
No, they
Whoa.
crawled out the river, out the water.
Out the Lake Houston.
And then Brandon was like, you can play the Star Spangled Banner? And I was like, no, dude, I'm not. Because if I fuck it up, they're going to beat my ass.
Oh,
You can have
man.
And
a
then he
Christina
was
Aguilera
like,
moment.
he went on the mic and said, Don Potter's going to play the national anthem.
Oh, no.
And
And you were like, oh.
Yeah, and there was the story. I've said this I think on the podcast to many people, but I'm playing it and then I fucked a note up and then I hear screaming in the crowd, like, rah, 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 rah. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get my ass beat. And then I look and it's like this bodybuilder ripped and he's screaming at people to take their hat off while I'm playing. He's going, take your hat off during the national anthem. What is wrong with you? Take your
Respect Our Lady of Liberty.
And I was like, whoa. And then
You just
been on the
happened.
list ever since.
Oh, wow. That's wild. That's wild.
I wasn't there for that
Yeah,
one, but
I've had some really wild moments on stage.
Oh, man.
Because
Yeah,
I invite that energy. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if you see our shows, it's that, just me.
what's your moment?
Ooh, so I would probably say like the most memorable like moment for me was actually when we were playing the Emotions, which is the cover band that I sing with right now. We played 3 days in a row at the barbecue for the Houston Rodeo, and we were in a private tent.
Yeah.
And it was a really big tent. I think it was the Texas Social Club that we played in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was really, really cool. And I think it was, I want to say it was the second night. And because by the first night, like everything was like, it was really loud just because, you know, it was our first night there. You know, our sound guy was trying to like balance it because, of course, all the tents around us had live music too.
Yeah. Yeah, I was there
And-
with my company.
Right. And so, you know, but by the second night, you know, we all kind of were like, okay, we kind of like know the feel of it now and everything like that. And I remember I was singing Don't Stop Believin', and I mean, there was like this moment because the crowd was like so into it. They were like, you know, pumping up.
Yeah.
They were like right up on the stage. They were like yelling and singing along and everything. And I just remember like as I was singing, you know, our guitarist Ray, who's phenomenal. I love watching him play. And you know, he went into the solo, you know, right before the "Don't Stop Believing." And, you know, I was doing like a little bit of like interacting with him or whatever, but like giving him his time to do his solo and everything. And I just remember like scanning the crowd and being like,
This is cool.
oh my gosh, this is my life right now.
Yeah, a little moment.
Like I was just like, this feels like a rock star moment like right now. And I was like,
slow motion.
And literally
everyone
like
was standing up, like
they were standing up, they were at the stage, like pretty much the entire tent was just filled with people because it was like a Friday night.
Yeah, it's
that's
packed.
awesome.
And
Those
it was
are the
packed.
moments, yeah.
And I just remember it was like, you know how you kind of had those like, like moments or whatever. And I just looked out and I remember walking off stage that night and being like, I never want to do anything else with my life. I was like,
so cool.
I'm like, I never want to do anything else.
Yeah.
And I even told our front man Josh, because like he and his girlfriend were staying with me in my guest room, and you know, we were talking about how we felt the show, you know, went pretty well and everything like that. I mean, of course, live music, there's always hiccups, but you know, and we were just talking about it, and you know, I was like, man, I just like looking out at those people and you know, just feeling the energy on stage and the energy from the crowd and everything. I was like, I just fell in love with all of this all over again. Yeah. And it was so magical. And I just remember like my drive and motivation was just like
a reset.
Like after that. And I actually like all three of those shows, I was feeling under the weather. Like I was like, I have a whole sinus routine if like I'm having really bad allergies or if I'm starting to feel a little ill with like a cold or something. Like I always test, you know, because I'm just, especially since I used to work as a nurse, I'm always like infection control, you know.
Yes.
And but it wasn't that, fortunately. It was just something. And you know, I didn't really interact with people in the crowd. And if I'm not feeling well, I kind of like try and distance myself from my, you know, fellow bandmates, because I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking get them sick, because then all three of us singers are gonna be sick, and we're all gonna be like, ugh.
Yeah, you need one good
and,
at least.
But fortunately, you know, with the medicine, and I do like the sinus rinse, and you know, my allergy medicine, and
the neti.
And
the
yes, and then I also within the past year, I've been using a steamer to steam my vocal cords, and I'll do that right before bed, because like within 30, you're not supposed to like do any hard vocal anything for about 30 minutes after steaming. And it helps with inflammation. It helps with lubrication and like kind of rehydrating your cords. Game changer when I'm like not feeling well, or I feel like, I don't feel strain very often, just because I've been working with Tom for so long that, you know, it's a lot of the muscle memory is starting to kick in when it comes to like singing and stuff. But there are some times where it feels scratchy. And
those moments are pretty gnarly, right?
Oh my God, they're amazing. I live for those moments now. Like, with a good
the first
crowd.
time I had that moment was at Lukenbach, and I remember distinctly the same thing. After I got off the stage, I was like, fuck anything else. Right. And for a long time, I would be like,
oh yeah.
But it's actually kind of sad, it's not all good, because makes the rest of life, to me personally,
mediocre.
It makes everything very mediocre, which is
thanks.
Not well. It is. It is like some of the shows.
I thought that was supposed to be your moment.
You're my continual moment.
Oh.
Ah.
Yeah, every little moment here with you. Yeah. I mean, it's just weird. I don't know. It's just like,
you know,
such
the
a weird
way that I like
to be.
The way that I like to look at it is, and I always like to reference Freddie Mercury, because just if I had to pick a favorite band of all time, it's Queen. Yeah. I mean, just phenomenal. Watching him and listening to him, just phenomenal.
He's the best.
But what was really interesting is I watched all sorts of documentaries on him, on Queen, on like all this other stuff. And, it honestly helped me a little bit with like my nerves for like going on stage when I learned that his very first show that he ever did, he faced the wall the entire time because he was so nervous to face the audience. And I was like, man, if he can be nervous, it's okay that I'm nervous.
Absolutely.
But the other thing too is, he would talk about how his persona on stage was so different from the person he was like off stage. And honestly, I kind of find that really cool because I can be kick-ass, confident, outgoing on stage, and then when I come off stage, I'm kind of like, all right, I'm gonna go home and hang out with my dogs.
Yes.
I like binge watch The Last of Us or something. Like, and
Well,
so
that's
like
how a lot of people are.
yeah, but I kind of like it because it's almost like when I'm on stage, I get to let my hair down.
Yeah.
I get to have fun, get lost in the music. I get to like interact with my bandmates, the crowd, like everything like that. And then when I'm off stage, I just like, like back to my little hermit, semi-hermit life,
Well, you're a performer. Like at the end of the day, like you're going out there, you're putting on a performance.
Right.
And you have to channel your
that makes people
your
think
character.
you're professional too. Honestly, it's a good. I literally just I wear the same shit pretty much all the time, and I just walk on stage, play, and then walk off, and I'm just
no change.
There's literally no change. I'll get like.
I even think I'm a character. Like I morph into a character at his shows. Like I, put on a performance too.
There's two types of musicians. Is the type that do that, and then the type that I am that just walk on stage.
You never change.
And just play.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like Mo. Like Melissa is the same way.
Yeah, Mo is a lot like me in that she just walks on stage.
She's the same on and off. Like she brings the energy whether she's performing or just hanging out.
Wait, Mo from
Mo Cotton in the Field.
Oh my gosh, I love her.
Yes, she's
really?
so great. Yeah,
she Mo Cotton in the Field. They played at a friend of mine's benefit. He passed away from COVID, and they had a benefit for his widow, and they played. Oh, they were fantastic.
I played with her a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I listened to her and I was like, wow, they're really good. She's a very talented vocalist. And I got to talk to them like very briefly because actually my friend Brad is friends with them too.
Oh, okay.
Did you talk to Dragon too?
That's her husband.
I don't know if I got a chance to talk to Dragon. No.
He's the sound guy.
That's really
his name's Clint, but
oh no! I did talk to Clint.
Yeah.
So
he's Dragon.
That's Dragon.
Oh, okay. All right. So actually, yes, I did because I know that my friend Brad is friends with Clint.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I found out, and I didn't find out until after I'd started like playing with Brad. So him and Clint actually went out on, I believe it was Clint's boat, to help search for Ben when he went missing.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, really?
Small world. I was like my jaw dropped. I was like, oh my gosh, are you serious?
I remember Mo and Clint telling me that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
That a small world. Man.
And I was like, and so.
It was in 2020, right?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think I remember the story.
So basically Easter of 2020, and I'll, try and not make it super long, but we were looking for a reason to just go floating on the canal because a lot of those neighborhoods on the lake, they have canals where they have like boat launches, like fishing piers, things like that. Yeah. And we'd floated on it before, and so Ben and I, and then his brother, sister, and his best friend, we were like, oh, let's just go floating. It's a nice day, and everything like that. And we were floating, just starting out and everything. And then like a water moccasin like swam by and we were like, oh, let's float away from the wildlife.
Yeah.
And so we started floating towards like where the mouth of the canal met the lake. And, we were just floating there. And then like out of nowhere, it seemed like seconds. I'm sure it was minutes, but it seemed like seconds. This weather front just blew in.
Oh, yeah.
And the wind and the waves, and it started dragging our boats out. And we were in like the inflatable boats, like the kind that you get from Academy and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it started pulling us out. And like literally we were taking our paddles trying to paddle back into the canal. And it just, no. And so like we wound up drifting out onto the lake and we were all freaking out. And then our friend, his best friend, wound up in the water And like, so, and we were in separate boats. So like one boat was like over here, and then Ben and my boat started getting dragged out to like the middle of the lake. And, you know, we had a floaty attached to our boat that his brother was like sitting on, and the waves would like kick up the floaty, and then the wind would catch it and like fling him off. And so he wound up kind of swimming off because he was like, oh, I'm not going to waste energy trying to get back on the floaty that keeps dumping me off. So, you know, very, very smart move there. And then we were trying to get the floaty untied because it was acting like a sail. And like at one point it like caught me across the chest and like pinned me to the boat. And so like during all that scuffle and everything, the side of the boat had lost some air and he wound up falling in. And whenever he popped up, like I remember like we locked eyes and he was like, I have to help him. I have to help our friend. He's been in the water too long. I have to help him. And then he just turned around and swam off in the direction that our friend had fallen in the water. And that was the last I saw him. And like fortunately I'd brought my phone. So I dialed 911 and all of that, but it took him like 30 minutes to get there. So we were actually rescued by civilians who saw my sister-in-law like waving her paddle, like to try and like, we're in distress, you know?
Wow.
So they came out and one boat picked them up and then one boat came and got me because we were so far apart. And, you know, when the guy in the boat that came and got me, like pulled me onto the boat and everything, he was like, hey, I've got the other boat on the line, you know, do you want to talk to them? And I was like, yes, I got to make sure everybody's okay. And so I'm like, hey, who do you have on your boat? Who do you have on your boat? It was like, oh, well, we pulled the 3 people from the water. I was like, 3 people, there's supposed to be 4. Who's there? And they name everybody but Ben. And it's like, looking back, I feel like I knew at that moment, but it would be another like 3 days before they actually recovered him. But like I went on Facebook and I organized, you know, search parties just for like people just to like scope out the shoreline. You know, I was like, of course, you know, everybody remain cautious and everything, but if anybody can just keep, you know, a lookout for signs of him, like, cause I was hoping he made it to shore. Maybe he was just tired and couldn't communicate, whatever. And honestly, one of the really big things that helped me get through like that initial time was just the kindness of strangers. There were so many communities around the lake that just came out like en masse. Like I had people in, you know, contacting me. They were taking their jet skis, their kayaks, their boats, everything, and just like circling as much area as they could. And like my sister helped create a search map that she updated and would put to like the Facebook page that was like helping track everything. And so even though obviously the result wasn't what we were hoping for, I was like, man, just the fact that so many people who are strangers like gave up their time and their energy just to help somebody like that was it just like, I really feel that and honestly, there were a few people from the Facebook, complete strangers, and they wound up reaching out to me personally because there was actually, I think, 2 different widows and their husbands had passed away from like cancer and like other illnesses and everything. And they just talked to me for like an hour, just consoling me and telling me that as much as it hurt, it was going to be okay. And I was like, man, this is just like, these people don't even know me. And they're just so willing to open themselves just to like, you know, comfort me a little bit.
And they were lake people too?
Yeah, they were all just in the communities around the lake.
Wow.
Some of our best friends are lake people.
Yeah.
We're best friends, Brandon, Clint, Melissa, Dawn, Tiffany, Chad, Marissa, they're all lake people. Lake people are the best. Tim and Chelsea, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're some absolutely wonderful people just kind of came out of the woodworks to help this stranger who's, you know, went through a traumatic accident and everything. And, you know, the sergeant who was in charge of the search, you know, obviously he didn't want to tell me that, you know, that's what happened, but he was so kind and he was like so gentle, like, cause he basically called it. It was like lunchtime on like day 3 and I got a phone call from him and he was like, hey, where are you? And told him where I was and everything like that. And he's like, okay, I'm going to meet you guys there. And I was like, oh, yeah, like, I know what's coming. Like, And
you knew at
so
that point.
yeah, I knew that when you're in that situation and the phone call is, where are you? I'm gonna come find you. I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
It's not
after
good.
24 hours.
It's not good.
After 24 hours, it's 99%.
So he came and gave us the news. And, obviously I just like crumpled onto the ground, like right there.
But
No. Go for it.
You weren't singing at that time.
No. This was before I started singing. And like I said, I had done the pediatric nursing, and then we were planning to go live over in Europe for a year. Yeah. So, music wasn't even on my radar. And then what wound up happening is I recorded a cover of a song for his memorial service, because I was like, I am going to sing at his memorial service. And I knew I couldn't do it live. Yeah. So I was like, I at least have enough equipment to record a cover and they can play it during the memorial service. Mm-hmm. And so it played during the memorial service. And then within like the next week, the people at the church reached out to me and they were like, hey, would you be interested in singing with the praise team? Because we heard your song and your voice is just so beautiful. We would love to have you if that's something you're interested in. And I was like, you know what? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And, then kind of like I was saying before, started singing with them and then did that whole thing. And then it's, just.
Sad things.
That opened up a lot of doors for you, though.
Dooley and my dad died in 2020, and it led me a lot to, like you said, just say fuck it and just do it. You want to do something you really wanted to do.
Well, and it kind of forced me into a situation to really look at myself and what I wanted out of my life. And
Same.
One of the most important things that I think happened in our relationship was, so he lost his dad when he was 19, and like a really unexpected, kind of a surgery gone wrong and sort of thing. And, I always tried to be there for him in his grief and everything like that. And every once in a while he'd kind of open up to me about it. And, one of the multiple times when we were talking, he'd say something, especially when he started traveling over to Nigeria every other month for work, the last like 2 years. Mm-hmm. He was like, if anything ever happens to me, he was like, obviously, hopefully not. And I was like, I'm not planning on anything happening, He was like, if anything ever happens to me, he's like, I just want you to be happy. He was like, I want you to do whatever makes you happy. I don't want your life to stop because something happened to me. Yeah. And like, I would just replay that over and like the lowest times that I had, I would just play that back and be like, you know what? I'm going to make something of myself. I don't know what that looks like right now, but I am going to live my life because that's what he wanted and that's what I wanted. Because I know I had two choices when he passed away. I could forego the rest of my life and just coast. Yeah. Or I could really try to live my life and find some kind of happiness after that.
But that's everyone. Everyone has. So.
And sometimes it takes a catalyst like that to really make it like click in your brain.
Not a catalyst. It takes, you just were lucky to have met a good dude. Yeah. That gave you that. Well, if you wouldn't have met him and had the time with him.
Oh, man.
Then.
Totally agree.
But I see what you mean. Like sometimes that opens your eyes to, like it really wakes you up. Like, okay, what am I doing with my life? Like,
right.
Am I going to be stagnant or am I going to shine? Like,
yeah. It's good to hear from somebody like that. Yeah, everybody's got it. Most people just coast. Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, and sometimes, and don't get me wrong. Like definitely for the first month, I mean, it was sheer coasting.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, when you're in that situation, you have to be able to give yourself a little bit of kindness and be like, I am grieving right now. Even though I feel bad that I'm laying in bed all day, you know what? I woke up. I walked outside. I took my dogs out. If that's all I can handle that day, hey, I did something.
You have to give yourself grace.
I can honestly use a month of that right now. I'm a little overworked.
No, you do have to give yourself grace, especially in times like that.
Absolutely.
Oh, sure. Well, and I have to remind myself of that still sometimes. because even though, you know, I've kind of moved past like more active grieving, you know, there's still tons of times where those feelings just sometimes just come out of nowhere, to be honest. And, you know, there's lots of times where I've caught myself almost trying to tell myself, oh, now's not the time to be upset. Like, oh, stop crying or whatever. And I kind of stop myself and I'm like, you know what? I need to feel this feeling right now.
You're allowed to feel.
I'm going to let the wave wash over me because I know the wave's going to dissipate.
Yeah, and you'll feel better afterwards.
Exactly.
Too,
and it's like, just let yourself have the feeling, let yourself feel it, and then once that wave comes down, you gotta, okay. And it's like, you know what? I kind of needed that little emotional release to just...
And that's what it is. It's just a build up until you release it. And if you don't, it's just going to...
Exactly. It kind of like starts to eat away at you. And it's just, nah.
Churchill cried in public. So if he did, he gives us all a pass.
But I was telling you about my friend Austin earlier. Like, I still have moments, and it's been a year and a half.
I have to pee so bad. I'm so sorry.
I'll take a turn next, so.
What time are we at?
1:30. An hour.
An hour and 30. Yeah, when I get back, there is a breathing exercise I wanted to do on the podcast.
So great, cool.
I looked at...
Go pee.
Okay, just give me a second.
Go do your restroom business. It's like, thank God for adult diapers.
Dude, what if I did?
Okay, I'm done. Your turn.
Your turn.
I do a little P-Play podcast.
Oh, no.
I'm down.
Stop it. Go away. Don't come back. Actually.
Oh, man.
But yes, I understand that. Like, you have to have those moments because I don't think I ever really grieved in the beginning.
Right.
Like, when Austin passed away. And, like, I catch myself even sometimes, like, randomly at work. Like, I have Spotify on, and he was, like, a big blues guy.
Right.
And so, like, a certain song would come on. And it didn't even have to be anything that, like, I knew that he liked. It just, like, triggers a moment. Or, like, I can see, like, a picture or just, like, I think about him constantly.
Yeah.
And, of course, like, I have lots of friends that have passed and family members and stuff. But he's, like, very prominent.
Right.
And even just, like, last week, I just was driving, and I was... like, started thinking about him, and I've never, like, just cried it out or, like, you know, been upset, per se. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm allowed to cry. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
And I felt better afterwards. I was like, I miss him.
Right. Because and one of the things, kind of sayings that I ran across, because I actually wound up co-writing a song for an organization called Modern Widows Club. And basically their motto is kind of like grief to growth. And it's basically helping to guide widows through the process of grief into like a growth period for them. And, you know, obviously everybody's timeline is different. Everybody's journey is different. Yeah. But one of the things that the founder, Carolyn Moore, would say is that one of the reasons that grief is so hard is because grief is love that has no place to go. Yeah. And it's so true.
That's true. Yeah, I never thought of it like that. Yeah.
And it, like, for instance, I started talking with someone who's very, very sweet, at least from the interactions I've had with them so far. And, you know, had a great little dinner and chat with them the other day and everything. And they just happened to, you know, mention that they, you know, write some poetry in their off time. And I was like, hey, I'd love to see it. You know, as a songwriter and everything, I'm always like super into looking at other people's art and everything like that. And so I read one and I was like, wow, this is really good. Like, you know, it's obvious this guy writes from the heart and everything. And he was like, oh, let me read you this other one. And like, I didn't have any like emotional whatever for like the one that I read. And he started reading this one and it just like hit me like a ton of bricks. So one of the things that Ben would always do throughout our relationship is like, especially in the first couple of years, he would write me love letters and he would just leave them for me, or like it would be my birthday and he'd pick a wonderful card and just put this whole like long love letter in it. And it was just so beautiful. It made me feel so loved. Yeah. And it's this poor guy was like reading this really beautiful poem that he wrote. I started getting really choked up and I was like, you know, kind of, and he was so sweet because like he finished reading it and I was like, that was so great. And
sorry.
And he was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And I was like, just give me a minute. And he was like, well, I mean, you already paid. You just want to go outside? I'm like, yeah, maybe some air. And so, you know, we walked out and he was like, are you all right? And I was like, yeah, I just got really triggered because, you know, my late husband would always write love letters and it's, you know, everything like that. And I kind of told him later, I was like, you know, it's just so obvious that, you know, you write from the heart and you're really sincere. And, you know, it just, all of that just was like really, it brought up so many wonderful memories, but the wonderful memories are sometimes the ones that make you the most sad.
Yes.
And fortunately, this poor man was just so understanding and so sweet about the whole thing. I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, I promise I'm not just like randomly crying just all the time. But it was really nice because once again, it was one of those moments where it was like, you know, the wave was crashing in and I just kind of had to like ride it out.
Yeah.
And then after like, I kind of like took a breath and then we went, you know, just went back to joking and everything. So
yeah,
it was really good. But I mean, it is like those moments are so like, sometimes you just have to let yourself have them.
Yeah.
And then you just feel better.
I know, I'm like over here, like holding back my tears when you're telling your story. Sorry.
You let yourself have whatever you want.
Yeah.
Except crack.
Yeah, don't do crack. Crack is whack.
Yeah, the only time you should say, I need to stop myself is when you're on hard drugs.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
You're like, yeah, maybe I should stop.
Everything else, everything else, you're good.
Yes.
And like ice cream at 4 a.m., don't eat the
Heck
whole tub.
yes.
I mean, if you want to, that's fine.
I mean, if it's one of those days you need a whole pint of Haagen-Dazs, you know, sometimes you just gotta eat the Haagen-Dazs.
You just do it. But I like what you said, like
Toby.
Like what you said was what is the group? Grief to Growth?
Yeah. So Modern Widows Club and kind of like their mantra is grief to growth.
Yeah.
And it's because, you know, and one of their big things is that as devastating and hard as it is to lose a spouse, because gosh, I've met widows who they lost their husband suddenly and they had multiple children that were very young. And, you know, she was like a stay-at-home mom because, you know, the kids were young and the dad had a, you know, a good job and everything. And then whether it's another accident, whether it's a sudden illness, whether it's, you know, something violence related,
doesn't
you know,
matter.
they're suddenly shoved in this situation where the income's gone. They have 3 children. Their partner's no longer there. And I mean,
it's like their world comes crashing down.
The amount of absolutely amazing women I have met through Modern Widows Club is just amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's like we all have like very similar grief in certain areas, but we all have our own journeys.
Yeah.
And it's just so inspiring to
Is it open
watch
to the
these women.
public?
I mean, they've got a public website. They're on you know, all the social medias basically, and it's just Modern Widows Club. They're kind of the, you know, same across the board on their social media and everything. Yeah. But especially if anybody listening like either knows somebody who lost someone or
check them out.
Yeah, I mean
she needs a community like that.
Well, and generally they do have groups in all the cities where they have you know, like little offices and everything, and they'll get together and like there's a few times I've gone and gotten coffee with some of these ladies.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
it's good to have people like that, dude.
Right. Well, and to be honest, being able to have a community of people who've experienced like the same thing is so helpful, because I know one of the things that I felt, which was another reason why it was so helpful that a few widows reached out to me like right after, you know, through Facebook and everything, was I felt so alone because everybody around me, even though everybody around me loved Ben,
it wasn't in the same way.
It wasn't the same.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same. And I don't want to like say that in like discounting their grief.
Yeah, you're not taking anything away.
Because we all lost somebody that day.
Correct, yeah.
But the way I feel like it's been described the best is that the difference between like losing a brother, a cousin, something like that compared to a spouse is that with a spouse, every single minute, second of your day somehow revolves around them, somehow includes them. Whereas a family member, extended family, a friend, something like that, their day isn't always impacted by that person.
Yeah.
You know, they have their own life separate from that person in ways, even if they do interact frequently. Whereas a spouse, you wake up to them, you talk to them throughout the day, you go to sleep with them. You know, it's like, hey, I had a bad day. I'm going to vent to my person. And then suddenly, poof, they're gone.
Yeah.
And like we loved exchanging memes, and we'd almost have like meme wars. So like like he'd get a bunch of memes, and then I'd find a bunch of memes, and we'd like send it to each other, and then like figure out who found the best meme of the day. And like and sometimes every once in a while, even to this day, I'll see a meme and I automatically think, oh, I gotta send that to Ben.
Yeah.
And then it like hits again. I can't.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the hardest, is like those little small jokey things that like you share, and then
you
suddenly
can send them
like,
to us.
I know. I was sitting here thinking like, you can send them to me.
I know now I've got like a little circle of people. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'll send them that meme.
Yeah.
Yeah, you send them to me. I love a good meme.
Yes.
I'm a meme lord.
Oh yeah.
gosh.
Oh man. I love a good meme, or like a good GIF.
Yes.
I love one of my favorite, because of course it was all over TikTok a little while ago. The short clip from that Nicolas Cage movie where it's like Nicolas Cage and
Oh my God.
and
the guy from The Last of Us.
yes, and his name
can't
escapes
think of
me
his
right
name.
now, but the one where Nicolas Cage is like,
And then he looks
he's
over
just
and he's like,
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yes, I love all of those.
oh my God, like the music in the background is like perfect.
Yes.
And it's always like me looking at that weird friend in the group, and then it's like the weird friend in the group.
Hey, have you gotten any in the comments that people will be like, this was really hard to listen to? Like when you post music stuff and they'll be like, this was really hard to listen to, fire emoji. Or the one I get that hurt me the most was, this goes hard as fuck on mute. Have you got that one?
So I in that sense have been very, very fortunate that I have not run into
Haters.
many trolls, if any.
Yeah.
And
Oh, really?
yeah, I've actually been very, very fortunate.
Wow.
Very fortunate.
Consider yourself blessed.
Pretty much the only person I would really consider like a troll, and it didn't really like get to me. I was like more just annoyed because I'm like, why?
Yeah, why?
Basically on one of the videos that I posted kind of talking about the story of how it happened and everything, this person basically posted, well, y'all should have had life vests.
What the fuck?
And I was basically like, yeah, no shit, we should have had life vests. But like, we weren't anticipating going on the lake. We weren't, so now, like, you know, there are times where,
Shut the fuck
you know,
up.
I try and advocate for like, you know, water safety and everything, because it's like, yeah, you know, you go out on the lake, it's a beautiful day, you never expect anything bad to
you don't
happen,
think about
and that's
that.
when shit like that happens.
That's true, yeah.
No,
And,
I watched.
you know,
I grew up on that lake.
But now you're doing what you can because
Right.
that's not something you thought about beforehand, but now
Right.
it is.
I watched multiple people growing up lose their lives or a limb on that
Yeah.
lake.
Well, actually, you know, one of the things that happened right after the accident was there was actually like, I think it was a group of people, because I only got like little blurbs of what was going on. But there was at least one or a group of people that were trying to get a meeting with like this council somewhere in Harris County or whoever that dealt with like water safety stuff. And it's so like they were trying to get signs put up about the wildlife, about the drowning risks, like everything like that. And just, you know, they kept getting brushed off or, you know, not being able to get a meeting with these people. Right after the accident, they were able to get that meeting, and within a few months, signs went up all over the lake about the drowning risk, the wildlife.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was like, you know what? As much as it sucks, I hope that
This saves
something
someone.
good comes out of this, and that maybe that this won't happen to someone else because of the signs and,
Well, you don't
you know,
have
all
to
the added
hope.
stuff.
You singing now.
I was about to say, yeah. So, like, I am very much a believer that, like, everything happens for a reason. And sometimes I don't know why. And, like, I'll never know why. And it sucks. And I get pissed off. But I just have to remind myself, like, there is something good to come out of it. And all I've heard, like you say, is, like, it's so unfortunate. But, like, so many positive things lined up for you and for, like, multiple people after that. Like even with the meeting with the council, like so many positive, well, that also like attests to the person too, I feel like. You know, like it's almost like a good karma type thing.
Well, and the new system that they have for identifying areas of the lake, like the numbered system, that happened after because of what happened to us too.
Really?
Because the reason they took 30 minutes to get to us was because they misunderstood where we were.
Yeah, because they'd be like, yeah, I'm at the East Fork. No, it's the West Fork.
Right. And basically, like, what I was telling them was, like, I was telling them what neighborhoods I could see. Mm-hmm. And they mistook me being in Kingwood and not Atascocita.
Oh, no.
So, which is why it took the crew, like, longer to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, even if they had cut that time in half, it still would have been too late.
Yeah.
Knowing what we know now.
Yeah.
But I mean, the location identification markers now, that like the whole system they have for that, that's all because of the accident.
Wow.
And it's just so crazy. And the other thing, and I'm someone who considers themselves spiritual and everything like that. And one of the things that I heard that really resonated with me was because actually in the August following the accident, I wound up driving up to Michigan to meet up with a bunch of our college friends, like our closest college friends. And I was going to go spread some of his ashes up at my grandparents' cabin because the few times I took him up there, like, that was his place to go. He loved it up in Marquette. And I wound up with a kidney stone. We stopped in Grand Blanc to stay with my sister, like, for a night or two. And I woke up at, like, 6 a.m. in excruciating pain. And my mom eventually got me to the ER. Turns out I had a kidney stone.
Oh, my gosh.
So I had to go into surgery, get a stent, all that kind of stuff. But I still went up there.
Yeah.
I still made it up there. So I'm, like, recovering from freaking, like, a kidney stone and everything like that. And I remember, like, watching a live stream of the church that I did the praise team at. And he just happened to have a sermon about, just dealing with, like, difficult things in life. But I remember, the one thing I remember the most that he said is he was like, sometimes we go through these deserts in life, the bad times, the hardships and everything. He's like, sometimes we go through the deserts in life, and what we don't realize is that we're going through those because we need to be prepared for the next chapter in our life. And we don't always know what that is, but sometimes that struggle, that desert, is leading us to that next chapter. And it just, like, hit so hard. And I was like, wow,
Yeah.
No, I believe in that very much.
Epiphany.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always say that also, like, God gives his hardest battles to his strongest warriors.
And sometimes I'm like, please give it to somebody else.
Yeah, it's like,
please.
I'm not that strong. But it turns you into a strong warrior.
But I honestly have surprised myself sometimes with how resilient I've become since.
Yeah, but that's through work.
I've had to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's not even religious. Everything work.
Oh, sure.
Work is the ultimate.
Right.
There's a reason the Nazis put it, work sets you free at the
How
top.
did you just relate that to Nazis? No, you're canceled. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying. There's a reason they put...
Instantly canceled.
Yes.
There's a reason they put work sets you free at the top of freaking camps. Can you give me that beer? It's because it
What
does.
does she want in that beer?
Do you want this beer?
I still got some. It's all right.
Yeah. Work does set you free. But
I think while you discuss the Reich, I'm going to go to the bathroom.
I'll give you a salute.
Good little spink high.
No.
I need to talk about our shows.
Yeah, do your stuff.
I'm not doing long advertisement. This show is brought to you by Tim's Tiny Trucks. Go to timstinytrucks.com. Get yourself a freaking Tim's tiny freaking truck. They're located at the corner of 2100 and 1960 by the lumber mill in Huffman, Texas. Huffman, TXX, Texas, baby. You know how we do it. We do it big. We do it shouted up. I'm doing it big. Hold on. I'm going off TikTok Live.
You already are. I thought.
I'm going off.
Oh.
There's no point in risking getting banned if nobody's watching. This podcast is also brought to you by
the Gold Coast Drifters and the Umber Whiskey Club.
Where's some shows?
Hey, you're on my thing.
Hey, don't hit me.
You have a show
I will file a domestic dispute charge on you.
With who? Your boss? Yourself?
No, with the police.
Oh.
The 911.
Okay. This Saturday at the shoot, August 8th. Today's the 5th.
Please come to the shoot.
It's the 8th, yeah.
Please come to the shoot. If you're listening to this, please tell you and your friends, I'm going to do some wild shit at the shoot.
Oh, God, I hope not.
She's like, oh, please don't say
No,
that.
Please
I am.
don't.
Sorry.
I can't handle it.
Well, you're enough. Neither can I. Welcome to the club.
I mean, even Toby's giving you a side eye. He's like, oh,
Dude, I'm gonna do
Toby's
some
side eye is the
wild-
worst.
Some
He's
wild
brutal.
shit.
Yeah, he is.
so judgmental.
Yesterday I walked in, I got home from work. I literally walked in, he was on the couch, and he was sitting there and he was like this.
That's what you doing.
Hey, aren't we playing at O'Neill's on Sunday?
Next Sunday, the 16th.
Yeah, so come to O'Neill's. Please come to the shoot this weekend. I think I'm gonna play at Tin Cup on Friday with Brandon. So come to the Tin Cup.
Oh, nice. Tin Cup is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's
If I don't go to the Tin Cup, I'm gonna go to Conroe for the singer-songwriter for Trent Cowie, but I think I'm gonna go play with Brandon. This podcast is also brought to you by Lacey's Golf Carts, located in Tomball, Texas. Parts and service opened all day, every day. Just hit up Chad. Chad will come to your house and fix your golf cart.
No, you won't.
This podcast is held
False
sponsored
advertising.
by the Humble Whiskey Club. It's invite only, so just go to the humblewhiskeyclub.com and hope that you're cool enough to get invited. And then this podcast that's it, isn't it?
That's it, yeah.
Ooh, that's it.
That's it.
Oh, no, and check out earlshreds.com. Go buy a t-shirt.
Go
Or-
to earlshreds.com, the place to shred and buy the merch.
Come on, dude. And
I love
please check
it.
out the Patreon. Again, the solo podcasts are only on Patreon. So it's a video, and I do unedited video footage that you can laugh at from my shows.
I love the B-roll, the
Yes,
little
me too.
bloopers, the extras, everything like
that's
that.
What's
That's
on
the best.
Patreon, and I would not put it out to the public. But if you pay, you want to pay $5 a month, it's there.
Yeah. Well, and I know, like, for my band, The Emotions, you can always find our tour dates on theemotions.com. Real simple, easy. Pretty much our tags for, like, social media are The Emotions Band. So please follow. I, usually will post and tag things in my own personal things as well to make it easier for people. But coming up, like, this Saturday, we have the Easter dance in Sestahoa. It's supposed to be a big shindig,
That sounds fun.
Sestahoa. We're at Sestahoa.
It is like 3 hours away.
Is that in
it's like
Oklahoma?
towards the hill country.
No.
Sestahoa.
Sestahoa, yes.
That sounds
What?
fun.
And then, but yeah, like I said, we do a lot of private events, but anything that's open to the public, we have on our tour dates section of our website, and check it out. We play a good show.
So is that the only
It's a
public
party.
one this weekend?
That's the only one this weekend. Yes.
Gotcha.
And then, just if you want to follow me on social media and keep up with what I'm doing, I always post where I'm going to be, where I'm going to be singing, have a good
Sweet.
time.
Yes, I know. I want to come see y'all, like, where I can, like, sit and watch.
Yes, and
have
like,
fun.
enjoy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I was, like,
we're gonna
behind the
have to-
stage last time, and I did enjoy it. I was singing back there,
Yeah.
like, with your mom, but...
So I'm not going to lie. So the very first concert for The Emotions that my parents went to was our first show at the Wine Garden.
Oh.
And it was honestly so fun to just see my parents kind of go and ape out in the crowd, like, yeah, like clapping,
my
dancing.
daughter.
That's my daughter. She's a rock star.
That's so
You know,
cool.
She was so proud. They were
She
so proud
was.
of
It
you.
was so sweet. I loved it.
Well, I honestly, especially with the moving onto the property and everything, like my parents have been an absolute lifesaver, like helping me get situated, and
They live in Michigan, right?
Yeah, so they
wow.
live in Michigan. They've got a condo up there in Grand Blanc, and they live pretty close to my sister. But my sister and her husband are living in Amsterdam right now for his job.
How cool.
I know, how cool is that?
My mom used to live there.
Right, and so
Does it beat New Caney? No.
Stop.
No.
So
Europe.
what
Ugh.
happened was my property, it actually has like 2 wells, 2 septics, because there used to be multiple trailers on the property. And so I have my house, and while they were getting settled and I first moved in there and everything, I let them have the primary bedroom, and I just stayed in guest room because, like, it's just me. And
Yeah.
so, but then they found this wonderful little 33-foot trailer that was perfect, and it has these beautiful, like, bay windows.
Oh, wow.
Because I have so much wildlife on my property; it's
That's fun.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so they're set up out there. Now they have like a little deck, and the neighbors' chickens will come, and we give them little snacks, and so they're like our buddies and everything. And
so they live out here now. Or
well,
they
so
have
it's
two homes.
pretty much.
They're
Texas
birds.
Texas is going to be like their winter place to be.
Yeah, that's what I was talking
Yeah.
to
The
him. and I
birds
was
went south for the winter. I get it.
Your mom was like, well, we live in Michigan, but we really don't like there. You know, it's when the weather's really nice.
Yeah.
And I was like, so do you like it here? And she's like, well, it's way too hot in the summer, but we'll be here in the winter. I was like, oh, so I was like, y'all are on snowbird schedule.
Yeah, exactly. They're the winter Texans.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Oh, you have the best of freaking both worlds. I was like, good.
And I think that's so good for them because, like,
That's
you
good
know,
for that's how humans used to live.
Well, and like my dad is semi-retired, so he does like a very good kind of like work from home kind of job. So he can work up in Michigan, he can work down here. So it's really flexible. And, you know, my mom is a huge gardener, like, so she loves doing gardens and just anything wildlife related.
Yeah.
So she's just like over the moon whenever like she gets to play with the chickens and see all the wildlife and
that's awesome.
You know, all that kind of stuff. So
and you get to be with your parents.
Until it's 105.
I love my parents.
Yes, but at least their trailer has a really good AC, and my house has a brand new AC.
Hell yeah.
So I'm not as concerned.
Yeah, it's
about
necessary.
the heat.
They're very sweet. I'm so glad to have met them.
Oh yeah.
So what
Did
brought you from Michigan to Texas?
So actually, it was Ben's job. So the college he went to, it's called Kettering University, and a little side rabbit trail. My first music video and the first song that I ever released was called Whispers, and basically it was kind of like our love story about like kind of how we met and everything like that.
I was going to ask that too.
I got a chance, you know, obviously with the university's permission, to film in the dormitory where we met, and to film at the fraternity where we, you know, just spent most of our time.
That is so cool.
And
that's where y'all met up there in college?
Yeah, so we met in college, and it was, you know, I always felt like it was one of those, the stars aligned for us to meet kind of things, because I originally wanted to do like musical theater, everything, and then, you know, I was like, oh, maybe like a business degree is a better idea.
Yeah.
So my dad was a dean at the time at that university, and they basically had like a deal where if you were a faculty member, your child or whoever could go for either an extreme discount or basically for free. And so I was like, oh, I'm not going to pass that up.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I went, and basically the way that we met was I was carrying all my math books because I'm horrible at math. I'm so bad. And so somebody, another guy that I had met through like orientation was like, hey, I'm actually really good. I can tutor you if you want. And I was like, okay, you know, and I was like, I just need to pass that. Yeah, and so like I'm carrying my books, and I'm walking through, like each hallway is like a unit. And so each unit has an RA, like a couple of dorm rooms, everything like that. And so I was walking through his unit, and he walks out of his door, this boy from McAllen, Texas, and he's in nothing but cargo shorts and no shirt, and he was like a long distance runner. He did cross country track.
Oh wow!
So he was prick cut. And all
I was about to say real cut.
And so like he walks out of his dorm, and he turns and he sees me, and this huge smile spreads across his face, and he comes up and he's like, "Hi, I'm Ben McCasland. How are you? What's your name?" I'm like, Beth. And he was like, well, hi, do you want to be an honorary member of our unit? You get a nickname and you get your name on the board. And I was like, okay. You know, and so like we pick just a stupid nickname, and
what was it? If you want
it was so the nickname was Six, and the reason it was Six was because during the orientation they brought a hypnotist as like entertainment, and I was one of the people that went up on stage to get hypnotized, and basically I was hypnotized to forget the number 6. And so after I was hypnotized, he was basically like, okay, count to 10 for me, as he like went and continued on with his thing. And I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's like, try it again. 1, 2, and I was just like, what am I missing? Like,
Yeah.
and he told me later, he was like, man, I saw you up there, and I just knew I had to find out your name.
Oh.
He was like, I thought you were so beautiful, and I just had to meet you, and so then after that, the guy that I was getting tutored was like literally around the corner from like where his room was, and he was like, can I carry your books for you? And I was like, okay.
Such like a movie moment.
Right, exactly. And then like after that, like, he'd invite me to parties and we'd go and party together, and one thing led to another, and we wound up, starting to date and everything. And
you know
what I'm saying, us feisty college kids, but yeah, and I grew really, really close to his fellow brothers at the Lambda Chi Alpha fraternity, and after we got engaged, before he graduated, I became a lavalier, which is basically like a girl being allowed to be a member of the fraternity, but because she's like marrying a brother. Yeah. And so I still have like the little necklace, and I have his pin, and all that kind of stuff.
Cute.
Yeah.
And then you got to do
adorable.
Then you got to do your music video there, like.
Yeah.
That's so
and
cool.
actually the brothers that were there at the time, they got to be my extras. They agreed to be my extras.
That's a beautiful story.
Basically, to pay them back, I bought a bunch of pizza, a bunch of beer, and some bubbly, and we just partied after we wrapped.
That's fun,
for that night,
like,
and it was so amazing. It was so fun.
Like, and telling stories and catching up.
She's good people.
I knew that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, when
I try to be.
When I said, do you want a Miller Lite? And you were like, yeah. And I was like,
I walked outside. I was like, okay.
Yes, man. That's so beautiful. Me and Cindy were arranged.
From birth.
Yeah.
From the time she exited her mother's womb.
The womb.
Yeah, absolutely.
She was betrothed
Literally.
to the shred.
By music industry people. We were.
Love it.
Okay, your daughter will marry my son.
For 30 shekels.
They will love each other, and you will wash his feet at night.
Sorry, but no.
She's like, you can give me a foot massage after I've been on those platforms all night.
Yeah,
but
just kidding. Actually,
Literally.
I saved her single-handedly from 15 different Taliban fighters.
Oh, jeez.
Actually, he cut my eyebrow after putting me in a headlock. The second time I met him, he put me in a headlock and sliced my eyebrow open.
Yeah, I went.
Literally, that's what
"Come here,
happened.
you look beautiful."
It's like, you look adorable. Let me get you just this loving headlock. So let me give you a loving noogie, like.
No, I want to. I said, "Come here, wench."
I gave him some change.
Come hither with thine
Come
beer.
hither, wench.
I actually handed him a handful of change. I was like, here's your tips from the night. He said, what do you want me to do with that? I said, buy some
what do you
chicken
want me to
nuggets.
do?
Buy some chicken
I said, buy some chicken nuggets.
What would you like me to do with quarters, wench?
I gave everybody else dollars and he got the quarters.
I'm so close.
I was doing it on purpose.
That is so petty. That is so petty.
I'm so very close to moving to a house with a thatched roof somewhere in Europe.
Please.
And wearing
Please.
just thick, smelly clothes.
You do that now.
And just drinking.
You should pick up a kilt. It's very breezy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's very comfortable.
Just
You go stand on the second story just with nothing underneath it.
Just in a pub yelling, just screaming.
You do that here too.
That's what I'm saying. I belong in a pub. And
Is that like a mix of like a Scottish Schwarzenegger or something?
drunk European.
Oh my gosh.
It was always really interesting whenever we'd go like pub hopping in Edinburgh, because there was a place called Rose Lane, and it was just like restaurant pub shop pub, and it was just like this whole stretch, and there was actually like a Rose Lane challenge. We didn't do it, but basically you start at one end, and the challenge is you have to have one drink at every single place, and almost nobody finishes it, but they get really wasted.
Yeah,
and
you're in Europe.
Well, and it was always so funny because the people in Edinburgh, most of them they had a thick Scottish accent, but you could still understand them, and it was funny because Ben actually had a coworker where he came from like northern Scotland, which very, very thick accents up there. So it's kind of hard to decipher what they're saying sometimes. But it's like this man would drink enough that his speech would slow down and suddenly you were able to understand everything he was saying. I was like, I feel so bad that I can't understand you unless you're drunk. Yeah. Like, you seem very nice. Yes. But most of the time when you're talking to me, I just go,
Tis the European way.
My company is a Dutch company, so I can resonate with that.
Remember the meme on TikTok that was like, typical day in your average Brexit life. Oh my gosh. And then the end is, and then have a couple of pints in the pub and then off to the Fortress of Dreams.
The Fortress of Dreams.
I'm like that. This is so sad. Honestly,
is this RuneScape?
No, this is Europe. And really, if they would have manned up during World War II, the world would have been a better place. But they didn't, and America became top dog, and now look where we're at.
Well, one of the things that I really enjoyed...
Would have been better with...
one of the things I really enjoyed about being over in Europe is their public transportation. Because, like, you can go drink and get drunk as a skunk, and you can hop on the bus and get home.
Yep.
And it's like, that'll be 10 cents equivalent or, like, whatever. And you're like, I can ride the bus at, like, midnight for, like, 30 cents? Hell yeah, and so, and it was always so cool because I enjoyed walking through the little villages because back when I was a senior in high school, my family moved over there because my dad was doing a grant work with another professor that was in Esslingen. And so we stayed in a little town, a little village called Reichenberghausen. And it was so cool because, literally you leave the house, you walk to the bakery, you walk to the butcher, you walk to whatever other little shop you need for the day, and then you walk back home. So cool. And then, even when we went to the schools, which they call them gymnasiums there, the way that they structure their school day is so crazy because obviously the local schools, the kids generally live fairly close. And
that's how the whole world does it.
They'd have 2 classes, and then they'd have depending on what classes you're taking or whatever, you'd have a 2-hour break to just go have lunch. You could go home and have lunch. You could go to a little cafe and have lunch with your friends and everything like that. And then after your 2-hour break, you'd go back, have another 2 classes, and then you were done for the day.
That's awesome.
And it was just the classrooms were so relaxed, it was so crazy because here you have a teacher say something funny or whatever, and kids start laughing and hooping and hollering and clapping or whatever. And I remember the teacher said something that was a little snarky or whatever, and no hooping, no hollering, no clapping, no. They just knock on their desk a little.
As a laugh? That was their laugh?
Yeah, but everybody in the classroom did it, and it was just as a response to the thing that the teacher said, and I was like,
that's so strange.
What? But it was just so interesting because it is so different, and I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Really neat,
So they do it to her.
And you also get holiday there is so long.
Right.
You get everything off. You get months off. If you're pregnant.
Americans only think about money. It's a problem.
Right. Yeah. There's actually not a lot of people that work anywhere over 40 hours most of the time. Obviously it depends on the job.
Charles Dickens came to the U.S. for 6 months.
Here we go.
And when he came back, it's history. Never mind. You're too dumb to understand.
You just interrupted and then left field.
Thinking. It's not left field. It's okay. Let's talk about our nails.
Are you stereotyping us right now? Because
I'm stereotyping
females?
you because
I'm dumb? That's what you just said.
I don't know. You're the one who said, here we go.
Because you always go off on your little banter.
It's not banter. It's
a rabbit trail.
Yeah, it's actually historical fact.
It's running.
But that's actually a huge problem with Americans as well, is they don't want to listen to why they're wrong.
Oh my gosh, that's like you.
No, it's like you.
Dalton's always right.
I'm not right. I was just telling you a story.
I know. You can tell me. I was joking with you, and I breathed loudly.
I think we should do this breathing exercise. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Can I do it, Sydney, or have I steered too far off on the conversation?
Continue.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I'm interested in this breathing exercise.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Close your mouth. Don't breathe. No, just don't. Stop. Stop breathing. No, just stop.
You stop.
You stop breathing.
You stop breathing first.
Okay, here we go. 24 times in and out. Are we ready?
Doing what?
In, out. Just breathing in and out. Just sit up
Quickly,
straight. Sit up straight.
softly.
Come on, you look tired. I know you're hungry. Get your shit together. I know.
Is that a fat joke?
No,
I know you're hungry.
Yeah, you have bags under your eyes and you look tired.
I am, yeah.
Yeah, go eat. You ready? Here we go.
Right.
In and out. 24 times.
It's going to take forever. Is this 4 or 2?
Just in and out. Shut up. Just no, for real, Sydney, don't talk. I know it's hard for you. Just don't say anything. In and out.
I think I know who's angry.
In and out. No, don't laugh. No, we're starting over. This is one.
No, we're breathing.
No,
Come
don't
on.
laugh. Don't say anything.
All right.
Here we go.
All right.
In and out. Just keep breathing in and out. All the way in, all the way out. All the way in, all the way out. All the way in, all the way out. Breathe, Sydney. All the way in. All the way out. All the way in. All the way out. Just keep breathing in. Let's get 10 more. Here we go. We're on 3. There we go. Let's do 4. All the way in, all the way out. There's 5. 5 more. All the way in, all the way out. All the way in, all the way out. Let's make the last 3 big. All the way in, all the way out. All the way in, all the way out. Let's do 2 more. Let's make the last one big. All the way in, all the way out. Now let's go all the way in, as big as you can, all the way in. Now hold it. Just hold it. Be surprised about how long and how easy it is to hold your breath right now. Just keep holding it. Just keep holding your breath. Don't breathe. Can you do 10 more seconds? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let it all out and let's do 5 more in and out. 5 more, come on, all the way in.
All right, guys. Next hour of the podcast will be
Literally.
meditation and breathing.
All the way out. Y'all giving up?
Actually, it kind of reminds me of another exercise that we do, and it's basically for like improving like longevity of phrases. And basically, you do something very similar.
Stop. She's trying to talk. Doesn't stop.
It's like
ASMR.
ASMR, exactly.
I can't do mouth noises.
And so what you do is like you do like a lip trill, which is a kind of thing. And so your goal working your way up is about like 15 to 20. And basically what you do is like you take a deep breath and you're like, and you basically try and do it as long as you can for as many times.
We're going to actually do that again because y'all didn't do it right.
No, let her finish. Stop. No, finish.
But yeah, it basically helps with like longevity, breath support, because like there's lots of songs where the phrase is real long and there's no place to take a breath. So it's really good to like work on that so you're not like la la la,
Yeah.
la la la, you know. But it works. It works. So.
Mason does that a lot. He does the yeah.
Yeah, you could. So sometimes I don't like to do that because it makes my nose
tickles,
itch.
yeah.
So the other thing you can do if you don't want to do lip trills is like tongue trills, which is.
Oh, see, I can't roll my tongue.
And so, like, you can do that, or you can do the lip trills, and that helps
I usually
to, like,
have, like,
warm
a
up.
beer, and then I'll have some chocolate, and then I'll have another beer.
And then I'll smoke, like, a pack of cigarettes.
I smoke a cigarette.
And then I'm just ready to go and get on stage and start singing. You know?
Where are we at?
We are at 2:14.
Ooh.
2 hours and 14 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a good one.
Would you be willing to come back on the podcast?
yes.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
I love having females.
If not, I'm about to milk 6 hours out of it.
No.
I'm gonna get my fucking clips. I'm getting my views. Daddy's
Yes.
getting his views.
Daddy's getting his views.
Did you know when you take deep breaths, you're supposed to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth?
You couldn't even do that 1 minute breath exercise.
I did it.
No,
A
you
1
didn't.
minute.
And you couldn't even do that 1 minute.
I don't
That's
breathe
fine.
like you. I breathe into my nose, out through my mouth. I'm a nose breather through and through.
That's not how I breathe either. It's how somebody with $1 million breathes. So
Oh, well.
I'm doing what he's doing.
I'm doing the $1 million breathing over here.
Sorry.
Yeah,
You're doing that 3-pack a day breathing.
Yeah, once you can do the 1 minute straight without
I did it.
your ADHD.
I don't have to.
You didn't do it. You left. Your ADHD got the best.
On the last 10 breaths.
It takes the entire process. You have severe ADHD.
Is my bank account gonna be full tomorrow?
No, yours ain't.
Did you ever get that $50?
From what?
Wait, you guys got $50?
From what?
So I was listening to I think it was last Wednesday's podcast.
And I was supposed to get $50.
Right. And
what?
And you were like, oh yeah, I had to give her like $50 for her to come in here. She's like, I haven't seen that $50.
I haven't ever seen that $50. Because you were like, please come to the podcast. Like, I'm tired.
Yeah, she ain't getting nothing. You know why she ain't getting nothing? I said, the day I made this podcast, I made the intro, and I said, Sydney, you want to be in the intro? And she said, yeah. And
I was like, sure.
I said, that means you're going to have to do it. And she said, oh, I'll do it.
I think I've only ever not been on 3.
No, you've been not.
One of them I wasn't even here for. I was at a work
I've
event.
done 6 episodes
can't
by
help that.
myself.
I'm talking about when you have guests.
I still did them.
Your solos are not, like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when we have outsiders.
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 Yes.
You come into my home.
You come into the shred shed.
You come into the shred shed. And you come on my podcast.
Yeah.
Come on my podcast. And you trashed it.
And not in the good kind of trash.
Hamson Shreds.
They like cut out part of my words. So it sounds like, and you're listening to it sounds like it says podcast.
Podcast.
You're listening to the #1 podcast. Because he like cut me off too soon.
Sydney has a bad habit of just agreeing to things. And then when I'm like, all right, here we She didn't think I was serious when I started this podcast. That's what it was.
No, you just made me come in here and you were like, hey, listen to yourself on the microphone. It sounds cool. So I was like, cool. You're like, now say Sydney Shreds. It's like, Sydney Shreds.
You didn't know I'd be the #1 podcaster.
The podcatter.
Way bigger than Joe Rogan.
Podcatter.
Joe who?
You know, you should make like a little sticker, a little shirt that's like, welcome to my podcast.
Oh, that'd be so cute.
And like a little cat with like a little like
That's why I did it.
Yes.
That's why I cut it off in the intro like that. It was
It's
like,
funny.
#1 penny.
Yeah, you're listening to the #1 podcast.
well, and then like you should end the podcast like
Liz, you should
this
start a
has been
podcast.
Earlshreds.
I think Liz should start a podcast.
Welcome. Thanks for listening to our podcast. Meow.
You should be in a podcast.
She is right now.
Or, no. You should either start your own podcast or quit music and do only ASMR.
And then we're doing it like this.
Oh, see, you're
Welcome to my podcast.
Yes. Yes, dude. I knew you'd be great at it. Especially the fingers.
I know. Every time I'm like scrolling, especially at night, like on TikTok, you always have the ASMR people that are on there, like, helping people fall asleep. And like, more power to people who like need that.
Yeah.
I always listen to like nature sounds to help me fall asleep. But they'll have like, their
little
nails and they're like
clickies.
clicking, and they have like all sorts of like little toys
squishy
and like
stuff.
things. Yeah.
Like foam. I
And
like
they're-
the sound bowl people.
And then like they'll get like right up and they'll be doing something, and then they're like, and now we're just gonna do this.
I'm like, yeah, you just ruined it. I was about to go to sleep and you woke me up.
It's time to wake up.
I like the sound bowl people. They're just
Don't forget, you've got a Teams meeting. You've got a Teams meeting at 8:30.
and then it's that noise.
I'm immediately up.
No. Oh man, one of my favorite TikToks that I ran across, and it'll pop up in every once in a while, is the guy that like he's got the bathrobe and like the glasses, and he's like throwing a beat down. I was like, get the fuck out of bed, bitch, go.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so funny.
He's a great DJ. I know.
Oh
that.
man, that was so like you could tell that he's talented with like making beats and the DJ stuff,
Dude.
but that was just
It's
it was
funny.
short and it was just hilarious.
I like the TikTok lives where it's like the Indian dudes in a bed that if you give them $1, the bed like flips them out.
Oh,
That's so
I've seen a
weird.
couple.
It's my
Yeah, I
favorite.
ran across somebody like a few weeks ago, and they were basically like sleeping in
Yeah.
bed, and they had like a poster, and
Different
like
things.
every like the different
Love it.
emojis or whatever like does just different sounds to try and like wake them up, and if you manage to wake them up, like they'll do something for
Yeah.
the live or something like that.
Yeah.
Those are so weird.
I know. I'm like, if you got an
People
audience,
are
go for
watching.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're making money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If y'all don't go buy a t-shirt at earlshreds.com, I might have you might see me on one of those.
Oh, that's creepy. I'm like, ooh, I don't want to see it.
Or I'll sell like photos of you. I'll probably start selling photos of you. For your
Really?
feet. Yeah, I take pictures of your feet while you sleep.
Apparently, there's a big market for
feet
no, I've got a whole
stuff.
collection of her feet. in her
While I'm
armpits.
sleeping in my
Yeah.
armpit? Because I sleep like this.
I'm letting you know this right now.
That's cool.
Everything's for sale.
I mean, for the right price, you're absolutely right.
You listen to
You want Dalton? Just offer me the right price.
I've literally said I'll twerk for roses. Yeah, no
It's
doubt.
happened on the podcast. That was one of
Yeah.
them I wasn't on, but there was a bunch of boys in here.
It was me
of course,
and
of
JT,
course.
and he was like, he started twerking. I was like, sit your ass down. I was like, you don't do that shit for free. I was like, if you can start twerking, you need roses. And then somebody at Ryan,
like,
and,
sends-
Ryan
They
and a
send
bunch
it
started
on,
sending
yeah.
roses. I was like, all right, now you can
Now
twerk.
you can
Now
twerk.
you can twerk.
You earned them.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was like, what
That's
the fuck are you
good.
doing twerking for free? Fucking slut. Ugh.
Nothing's for free.
Amateur, bro.
Oh man.
Yeah, no doubt. You listen to nature sounds while you sleep,
Definitely.
like
rain.
like bears mauling, and
Nothing more relaxing than today's music for sleep.
It's like rainforest gone bad.
I know, right?
real nature sounds.
Rainforest gone wild. Gorillas gone wild.
Oh no.
Walker took a slap to the face for that. He did.
Yeah,
That's what Neil said.
yeah, he did. Walker took a slap to the face. I
Yeah,
was like,
he got slapped in
I was
the
like, if
face.
somebody sends me a hat right now, JT will slap Walker.
And he did.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I listen to the sound of like drone strikes when I sleep.
You're like, that's my peaceful music.
Yeah. This is war
I
crimes.
feel so at home.
Like, so relaxing.
There it is.
Oh, I can finally sleep. Oh my god.
It's like you need headphones, but you need them plugged into the aux jack, like playing airstrikes.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny, like so I tried out a bunch of different apps before I found one that I liked, because like the sound qualities are different, the sounds
Yeah.
are different, And like I don't even remember what app it was, but it was like, you know, like wild birds or something like that. And it was like the whoosh, like up the wind. And then it was like tweet, tweet, tweet. But then like every 7 seconds, it was definitely not consistent because like if the sounds aren't consistent, my brain hates it.
Yeah.
And just like randomly it'd be like,
Like
just like in the background. And I'm like, what is this bird doing in the background of this like supposedly meditation sound? Like, so it'd be
sounds
like,
horrible.
tweet, tweet, tweet.
America.
That's horrible.
Straight up bald eagles.
Give me that chocolate.
Oh, it's so bad. It was so bad. I was like, I don't think this is the one for me.
Yeah, not the one. Sorry.
Not the one.
I just do straight up bald eagles.
In America, in the national anthem playing in the background?
Yeah, I think it's time to end it, honey.
I was like literally about to die, so
Thank
that's
you
why.
so much for being on today's podcast for Earlshreds. Come check us out next time.
Oh, man.
You have to meow. Meow. Meow.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, what is the NPR? Today the news brought to you by the people and then the societies of people that brought to you extreme damage. Yeah. It's like every time you turn on NPR, that's all you hear.
Or it's like
Today's NPR show is brought to you by Bran, the most flavorful of the fiber.
Or it's NPR's like today's show's it's the most obscure shit. Like
I know.
it's brought to you by Southeastern Native Indian women who like to ride motorcycles through the forest while juggling. An underrepresented group. What the fuck?
Today's NPR is brought to you by unicycles. You never know if you can ride one until you try.
Yeah.
And then you find out real quick.
And then you find it real quick. You can.
Every year, 30,000 unicycles are thrown away.
Or
In the arms
Sarah
of
McLachlan
I
on a
know.
unicycle.
Oh my gosh, on a unicycle. Like hugging one, like crying or something.
Every year, 40,000 unicycles
Are in the dump.
go unridden.
No, or it's even something more ridiculous, like
Every year, 50 unicycles get tossed to the side of the road. Maybe they were an Easter gift. Maybe they were for Christmas. But those unicycles deserve a home.
Now they're mangled.
In the arms
I can't.
of the hear my name.
It's just gone south
man.
real quick.
oh no.
Your donation.
Emotional trauma.
Your donation of 99 cents a month.
And that's why we love therapy.
Thanks to all of our therapists.
Next time you go to Walmart, think about buying a unicycle instead of a fucking bicycle.
Unicycles need love too.
Yeah, everybody wants to ride two wheels, but nobody wants to remember one.
Don't do that.
That escalated quickly.
Every time I do this, I want you
My-
to put like a little rainbow like SpongeBob. That's what I was doing.
Imagination.
Imagination.
Well, thank you so much for having me on
Yeah,
today.
no problem. I
Appreciate
mean,
it.
this episode's brought to you by the Earlshreds fleshlight, so for they and their pleasure.
Actually, it's like this.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's late. This is late night Earlshreds talk.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you
Exactly.
listen this far live, or if you're in your car listening to this post live, congratulations. You're
Congratulations.
A real one.
You are the winner.
World's
best cup of
Congratulations.
coffee.
You
You're a
get
real one.
Nothing
No.
Congrats.
except
You
entertainment.
get a free new Lamborghini.
A Guini?
Yeah.
A Lamborghini?
Use code.
Pasta linguine?
Yeah, if you've listened this far, call a Lamborghini representative and tell them that you want to use code word Earlshreds for your new Lamborghini.
And then they call the cops on you.
But you have to record this conversation.
And then I'll send you a shirt.
And then
yeah.
send it to us.
Yeah, there's a new Lamborghini waiting for you. Just please record the conversation. Yeah.
Hey, Earlshreds told me I could use keyword Earlshreds and I'd get a free Lamborghini.
They're like, pardon?
What?
Who?
Sir? What if they're like, yes,
Peasant.
we've been waiting for somebody to claim it.
Finally.
Someone believed him.
It's just a Lamborghini with a giant Earlshreds sticker on it.
Or it's like, they get it in the mail and it's like a little Hot Wheels.
Put a little lightning bolt on it.
Hell yeah.
I love it.
Perfect.
All right,
Yes,
guys.
you have to come back, definitely.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah, I'm in the live. Thank you, Liz. Go follow Liz Casland and the Emotions on all things.
Yes.
And
We'll catch you next
yeah,
time.
catch you next time.
Casland, not Kaplan.
Don't forget,
Casland.
take the means
Yes,
of
Liz
production.
Casland. LIZCASLAND.
Yeah,
Land.
y'all check out the website. Take back the means of production from the proletariat. Destroy the bourgeoisie.
Had to get that last little rabbit hole in there.
Real quick. Slid it in.
Just remember, when you buy a T-shirt from earlshreds.com, it's not your T-shirt, it's our T-shirt. Thank you, comrade.
Rock on. Peace out.
Hold on.
You just put that all over my shoes.
Oh my gosh, Sydney. Oh my
Hot cat foul.
It only spilled this much.
Tiny. At least it was a tiny amount.
It was like the foam.
The littlest baby amount.
Hold on, let me get off Instagram
really worried
or
about my
Facebook
shoes.
Live. Goodbye, everyone that watched. I love you. Thank you, Liz.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oops. Sorry.
Wow, my ears can breathe again.
My ass.